I welcome everybody to the March 19th regular meeting of the Board of Finance, 2026. Everybody's still getting a little set up here. I'd like to call the meeting to order, and we have no need to seat any alternates. Let's go directly to the approval of minutes and present to speak, and then make a motion to add to the agenda. You can easily do at a regular meeting. Thank you. Take a look at the minutes. Our scribe is not with us in person tonight. She's going to be taking the minutes off of the recording.
Okay.
So Christina's going to keep her eye open for attendance on the Zoom. Any changes or thoughts on the minutes?
I'll make a motion that we accept the minutes of March.
I'll second that. Christina Malvo's amended, Steph Summers seconded. Any discussion, any remedies or anything else? Hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions? Okay, minutes passed unanimously. Thank you very much. See. Now let's move without delay to present to speak. Anyone in the audience in the room first would like to speak? We'll have an opportunity at the end of the meeting is what. There will be times where we, during the process of deliberations, consult people who are budgeters that are in the audience or seek insight that way. So that is part of the deliberation process that might help us. And otherwise, keep the deliberations on the board.
You should have public on Zoom.
I think we're not.
Everybody on the screen up there.
There's all these people. I pinned us, so, cause it was making one person be the
Host or
They're
something.
there, we're just not seeing them,
yeah, they're
just a
there.
different view.
I ran an
Yeah.
update and it's atrocious.
Oh, really?
Oh.
Thanks for the
It does-
insight.
it does.
Tuesday nights.
Usually you
Yeah.
see them on down the
Like
side.
a serious spot.
View mode is not available
Yeah.
anymore and, yeah.
That's the default normally from the side.
So we have a little technical difficulties still. Do the best we can. We want to hear from people. If you can raise your hand if you're on Zoom and you want to speak now, or, you can speak later too. Is there anyone else in the room again? Just since a couple people have come in. Okay. I'm not seeing anyone who wants to speak at this point. Do you?
No, I don't think so. Sherry, would you mind just raising your hand so that like we'll know if anybody does? Cause she's on there, right here, last time.
She's not flashing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Works.
Oh, Sherry, would you like to speak? Okay, well, I think, before we go into the budget discussions, I'd like to recommend two adds to old business, before the discussions part. First, I'd like to hear from, Phil Stevens about, the communications he sent to the board about what the Board of Ed has done in terms of examining its budget. And second, I would like to have Mike explain to us some changes he wants in motion he would like us to make tonight. It has to do with closing out some projects and the balances left on those, and to send those in the direction of the fund balance in the town to help us with the budget process later when we're finalizing the cuts and everything. So any I don't know, do we need to vote on that?
Yeah.
Okay, can I do that together, those two items, or would you?
Yeah.
Okay. So those two items, I'm moving that we add those to the agenda for tonight, as 1 and 2 under old business.
Second that.
Thank you, Walter. And, Steph Summers moved, Walter Parcell seconded. Further discussion? Okay, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Passed unanimously. All right, so done. And that means, would you like to address the
Sure.
board?
Sure. So I'm just giving you another paper. That was just a comparison of. People have been talking about inflation rates, and the board discussed this. So what we're giving you is the average of all of the budget increases over the last number of years, matched to the inflation number percentage for that year, and the average of the averages. I know you're not supposed to do that, but that's what it is. And the Board of Ed average is actually under the average. I'll get you in the copy. So just figured we share that with you as an important piece. The second thing that everybody I think is aware of is insurance is through the roof at 32.4% is an increase right now. That was not reflected in the budget that was submitted to you. The budget that was submitted to you had an increase of 10%. We did not feel it was the right move not to have it in there because that is the number. So the board did add the additional percentage in there. And so you should have gotten a copy of the new request. The total is the $10,044,303. It is an $879,549 increase. It is an 8.78% budget as of today. And as a result of that, what the board did, not Tuesday night, they just blend together. Tuesday night, we went through some scenarios, and in the hopes that number one, insurance comes down. And so what you should have received is 3 different scenarios: impact 1, impact 2, and impact 3. And on impact 1, that has the 32.4% insurance increase. And what the board took the time to do was identify if the Board of Finance reduces down to the number that was put out there was that 3%, what would that look like? The board has gone through that exercise. If insurance stays at 32.4% and they move to 3%, their budgets move to 3%, it's unreal. It really does devastate the Board of Education and the Wilmington Public Schools. And so what we did was identify what the reductions would be. And this is more than likely, obviously, that's what they're looking at. So if you the reductions are in the same exact order on all 3 impacts. The only thing that's different on impact 2 is if insurance comes down, hopefully we'll get more information on this next week and it's going to be lower than either of these 3 things. We're like sending our good thoughts to that. So impact 1 is a 32.4%. Impact 2 is 22.4%. Impact 3 is 12.4%. Those are the changes in insurance. The list of reductions that's on here are the same no matter the impact. It's just where does it bring you to get to the 3%. The board would drain their non-lapsing account. That would be the very first thing that they would do. They would take off that $161,463. That would be applied to the offset the budget, and they would have no buffer next year as a result of that. So if there's an emergency repair or there's another outplacement, there's no buffer. It wouldn't exist. It'd be at 0. The other piece that's important to understand is that I have reported out that you can expect a special education savings next year of $300,000 in 27-28. That is cut in half because you're applying 161,000 now that you weren't planning on, that they weren't planning on. So that you're now at 139,000 savings in the following year, if that makes sense. We tried to remove items that were not going to directly impact students right away. So you can see, we reduced special education supplies. That was an additional 1,000 that came into the budget this year. That was put back to flat. HMS chairs, where we will live with our folding chairs for now. So that 3,600 is out. And again, this was not voted on. This is what would happen if they were the order of the cuts that they would do. With Chromebooks, we needed about $50,000 worth of Chromebooks to be on our replacement cycle. We thought the budget was high, so we put in only $20,000. That would come out, and so we'd be off that cycle even worse. Library books at both schools were out, and then basically we took 10% of almost every district supply line was cut 10%. And so you can see that's the start of it. I took my raise out of there, so that would be gone. And then the first time you hit a staff member is when you get the staff support specialist. All of the yellow lines are positions and people. So we have 3 staff support specialists in the budget. There's a range of salaries, and what you see there is the salary and the insurance if they take it, which is why you see such a drastic difference. Those 3 would come off. 2 of those positions are currently open because of our budget problems this year. Well, we did not fill one of them. And then when someone else resigned, we did not fill the second one. That is allowing us to survive in the current fiscal year. The specialist 1, that member, that is not the person that is the staff support specialist, but because of contracts, the way it works with bumping is it's kind of like last in the door. That's the person that would be bumped. That is the person that would lose their job. We thought that was important, and we've met with all those people. They know who they are. They know this list, because it's the fair way to do it. So if this happens, that would be the first person to lose their job. So all 3 staff support specialists would be eliminated. Then, do I need to explain what those people do, or is that?
Yeah, I think you could touch on it.
So, the staff support specialists are our catch-alls. We've struggled to have substitute teachers for years, like many districts. And those staff support specialists, basically, there's 1 at center, 1 at hall, and then 1 floater. So when a teacher calls out and there's no substitute, that is the first role of that person. They cover classes, and they're used pretty much every single day. When we have them, when I say they're used every day, like there's not a day where it's like, hey, look, I can go grab a coffee for somebody if you want. That's not what they do. They are in classrooms and working with kids and covering classes. Without them, that's where if we have 3 sections and no sub, the 3 sections are the third section is cut in half, and then that classroom goes into the other 2 sections. So a class of 16 turns into a class of 24, and not necessarily with that teacher. Those are the people that make the kind of things that you don't see in a school function. Wherever you need help, something's going on, there's an emergency, I need coverage in class, coverage of duties, all of those things, that's what they do. When I say catch-all, their job description is basically that last line, a lot of job descriptions, and all other things as needed, that's what they do. First priority is covering classrooms though. So we would be back to the struggles of trying to find substitute teachers. The next section that's not highlighted is moving our sports program to a pay-to-play model. That saves not a lot of money, or, I think it's like $34,000, but it's something. And basically what it would do is it would be to play a sport. A family would be charged about $240 per child per sport. And it would cover the cost of the coaches for the year, any of the equipment, the athletic director, the insurance, the equipment. What did I say? I said it already. Something else. Transportation. So it would cover all of those things.
Do you have contingencies for families that can't afford?
No,
No fund? Okay.
there's no contingency.
Alright.
No,
I have a quick question too, going back to the staff support specialist.
Yes.
Since they're kind of the catch-all and help out with the substitute issue, like getting substitutes, how much on average, is there like a scale? How much does it cost for a substitute for a day?
so
Like, do
paras,
they offset the cost of that? Is it cheaper to have the staff support specialist? Is it cheaper to have a substitute every day?
it depends, it's probably pretty close for a teacher, but the insurance is offered. So as soon as you if someone waives insurance, you obviously, a waiver for insurance is $1,200. If they take family insurance, it costs the board $28,000. So it's just, that's the huge difference is the insurance piece, but you're guaranteed to have that person there. When you call a substitute, hey Steph, do you want to sub tomorrow? It's gonna be a nice day. I'm gonna go to the beach. I'm gonna pass. You don't have that person. Whereas if they sign a contract, that's a union position, they have to be there. That's a big difference in the position.
There's a bunch of people trying to get into the meeting. Thank you.
Online.
I have a bunch of people trying to get in.
They can't get in.
We have a bunch of people in.
There's more that are trying to get in.
It's saying that you guys are in another meeting.
There were 2 meetings. There was one that was called appropriations and one that was called, the top one. That's one I clicked on. And then when this meeting started, it said, should I turn on the other? Do you want to go to the other meeting?
Yeah, they're supposed to be in the regular meeting.
Okay.
That's if they check.
Yeah,
I just clicked on the one that when you go to the town.
It's, when
Website.
you go to the town, it should be the right one, it's
Little
the
TV
one
one,
that's on
and it's not letting them in.
the agenda. It is a different one than it's different than
Regular meeting.
regular meeting.
Yeah, if you go to the.
Third Thursday is the regular meeting. They're all.
Madam-
Madam Chair, could I speak up here?
Terrell,
If you go to Zoom and use the meeting ID and passcode rather than the link, okay,
Right.
you get that error message that the host is in another meeting. If you go to the agenda page of the town website and under the media column for the agenda for Board of Finance, you click on that and that'll bring you to the proper location in Zoom. That's what the problem is.
if you go to the link in the agenda, it will take you to the right place, is that what
There's
you're
a
saying?
media column under the list of
Yeah.
agendas.
Yeah,
Just click on that link and that'll take you to the right version of Zoom.
it sucks.
That was the
man.
only way I could get in tonight, so.
Okay. Lori had a question.
Go ahead. Yes.
Actually, a comment, as a retired teacher and someone who substitutes in the schools, it's going to be extremely disruptive without those people. Because the learning that happens when you have your regular classroom is very different than all of a sudden you've got extra kids in there. The disruption in the schedule, the time change, kids just get excited when things are different. I mean, it's just,
Yeah.
it's huge.
This was developed, started, obviously, we've been working on this for weeks with my admin team, and then they came to the board. We're not advocating for any of that.
Mhm.
The budget, the number that's in front of you, we hope the difference is gonna come down in insurance. And when we say needs-based budget, that's what this is. But we had to prioritize something to try and show what 3% would look like.
This is very clear.
Those people are critical to our operations. But we have to have, as you're gonna hear, it's gonna get worse. Because there are several positions in here that we just presented a brand new middle school schedule. We'd have to totally change it. Because there's positions on here that hold spots in those schedules.
Phil, could I ask you about another piece of the role for the specialist? Are they the ones that if a child's having difficulty with a certain lesson and they just don't get it, are they the ones that maybe sit down with that child because the classroom teachers?
So on a
Running
rare
almost there.
occasion where we don't have someone out and they're not covering a class, that is what they'll do. They'll go, hey, I've got to go to Mr. Stevens' class, and the principal will send them all and say, hey, Mr. Stevens' class needs help. You're going to go work with X, Y, and Z students. And that's where they'll be for the day. And we move them throughout the day. So as the English language arts blocks rotate through the day, I might be in first grade for the first hour, and then I'm going to second grade for the second hour and help specific classes wherever the need is. And it just happens throughout the day. They were running
Utility
shoes.
players,
That's-
almost, yeah,
Yeah, that's what they're moving. So
thank you.
you're welcome. So we know the pay to play is not outstanding. But we're trying to draw back some funds. And so that would be there. The next 5 positions you see in yellow are hugely impactful. So if all 5 of these goes, the world language program for the district is gone. We have a part-time person at the elementary school. That position would be cut. That is Spanish once a week. And then the next item down is a .4 physical education teacher. We would be down to 1 physical education and / health teacher at the middle school. They would be going all day long to have to cover all the classes, and it would impact the amount of time students would be getting those subject areas, the 2 subject areas. The third item down, the intervention paraeducator, that person picks up any additional kids that are, and they've been there for years, that are math interventionists and our literacy interventionists cannot cover. I will tell you, our math interventionists, our literacy interventionists, and this intervention paraeducator have full caseloads. So they are dealing with students in small groups all day long. We talk about people looking at our scores. That's a position that would impact. The next one we have, this district used to have 2 library media specialists, certified teachers, 1 in the middle school, 1 in the elementary school. The middle school one was replaced with a library paraeducator. So currently, our library media specialist, who is a certified teacher at the elementary school, goes to the middle school 1 day a week she writes all the lessons, models them for that individual, and then he teaches those lessons for the rest of the week. Does all the bookshelf. He basically runs the library, and he does our TV news. That position would be eliminated. It is in the schedule for next year. It would have to be pulled out. The next one down is the HMS World Language Paraeducator. There's another position that was a certified teacher in district. We had a hard time filling that position, partially because of where the salary range was and what our last teacher that left, our last world language teacher that left, went to take a job crack for $15,000 more than we were paying. So that world language paraeducator, we are currently using Rosetta Stone, and that individual is facilitating that. That was moved towards the bottom of this list. The board did adjust some things, and they did that for the purpose that when kids go to high school, they have the opportunity to move into a Spanish 2 or French 2. That allows them to compete with a Mansfield, with an Ashford, because they're going to the same school. Colleges want 3 years of world language. It helps them get that. It helps them get to the electives that they might want to do in the future towards their junior or senior year, but it also allows them to get to French 5 or Spanish 5 if they are going to be using that. So, but that position would be gone, and so would the program. And then the last item on this page, that's where you hit your 3%. So you're at 3.09. And again, this is if insurance stays at 32.4. We're very hopeful that doesn't happen, but we needed to show what the reality is, and we wanted the community to know what the reality is of what going from an 8.78 looks like down to the 3.09. I went beyond this because I think it's important for everybody to understand something. You cannot, and I'm not saying you, I'm just saying in general, you cannot continue to cut and expect to have a school district. Because next year when I come back with a 4% increase, because there's another outplacement that's out of our control, and we come back to you and say it's 4%, and you say, cut it to 2 this year, I don't know what I'm going to cut. That's what's on the bottom. So those 3 positions, we start talking about classroom teachers, that's where we break up the middle school model and we're running an elementary school model in 5th and 6th grade. That's where your class sizes are gonna be 20 plus. I know there's people that are in huge favor of that. It's not what we've done in Wellington ever. And my point is, you don't have industrial arts. You won't have a world language program. You don't have an home ec program that changed. You don't have a maintenance director. The list has been chopped to where you are today. And you go back and you look at what that budget inflation page is that you have in front of you, and you look at the increases. And the increases over my time in 9 years are 0s, 1s, and 2s. The ones that are above that, the 475 was a huge insurance increase that didn't come out. The decrease came down after your budget went through. The 675 is 2 additional outplacements that came in after budget. And then this year, contractual costs are up, special education outplacement, huge increase in insurance. I don't envy your job because you have the same problem to figure out how to get to this, lower this down for all budgets. I will tell you that we've talked to our state reps, we've talked to our senators, we've provided testimony to try and get more funding for Wellington. We hope that happens, but none of this is a guarantee. Today, your insurance is a 32.4% increase. We hope that changes next week. And it's just one of those things where we hope you realize the impact this would have to get to that. I will say, if you turn to the other pages, and maybe I'll just do the other end, I don't need to do the one in the middle. If you look at the impact 3, you can see that it's significantly less hurtful to the district. If insurance does come down, we can manage it. It's still not good, but it's manageable. There will still be no buffer in the non-lapsing account. The same items are cut: Chromebooks, library books, the staff sports specialists are gone. And then, the sports program. Might the Board of Ed rearrange a position that's underneath that black line to keep the sports program? Sure, they might. It depends on community feedback. This is a better picture, and that's what we're hopeful for. When we say that hopeful for, we love the 878, but we want what's in the budget without the huge insurance increase. That is the bottom line of what the board is requesting. Yeah.
What type of insurance is this that's going up that high? Is it
Medical.
PPO? Is it a high deductible?
It's a high deductible healthcare plan. And this is so, Walter, and feel free to chime in on this, Mike. This is Mike's first go around with the town insurance side of this. I've never seen, I'm going to call it shenanigans, what's going on. We usually have a number in December or January so that we have a not to exceed number. We did not get that this year, and we got our number really late. We get quarterly reports of our usage. And when I say our usage, it gives us our medical usage, and it gives you your pharmacy usage across the board. And they typically look at claimants that have bills over $100,000. When you have 1, 2, 3 claimants over $100,000, your usage is up, and they're going to penalize you in your renewal. Okay? We don't have a single claimant over $100,000. We actually, I've learned this over the years, is that they want to be, when they do their bids, they want to be about the 80th percentile. And what that means is they're making good profit at the 80th percentile, and that means we have decent rates. Okay? When it goes above that, their profit comes down. If it hits 100, they don't have any profit. We've been operating in the 55 to 65 percentile. Our usage has been outstanding.
That's an outrageous increase then.
It is, and that's what we have said. It is outrageous. And they have pointed, they pointed to something that was not on our usage yet, and we went back to them and said, that's already actually been there, and if you didn't see it, that's your fault. So we went out to bid, and that's what we're waiting on now. We're hoping that being out to bid, that it will help us, bring the rates down and maybe there'll be a lower rate. This is where, and we just talked about this with Jeff Gordon yesterday. I happened to walk by Mike's breakfast. When we put something out to bid, they find out, the person that's gonna bid on it, our insurance company, you get to hear what our last bid was. So if you knew, right, smile, it's baffling to me.
Yeah.
So it's 32.4%, and you're like, oh, I might get this job for 30%. It's just not in the town's favor. And even though all of our data looks outstanding, it's just truly frustrating. The other side of this that's frustrating is that our plan, we have an average plan. It's not super rich. If you ever hear anyone talk about the state plan, the state plan is super rich. It's not a high deductible healthcare plan. It's a POS, I believe. And the opportunities are they're there. We would have to pay more than, it was like a 39% increase. And the people that have that plan are the ones that have had horrible usage. So have horrible usage, that's when you qualify for the state plan. It is so backwards. Like you would think the ones with great usage, low numbers would have access to the best opportunities, and it's just not that way. So the health insurance is really frustrating. We're hoping that being out the bid helps us. Because we're small, there's not a lot of places that will bid on us because we're small, even with the town and the schools together.
So is our good data, if you will, our good performance, or what, is that part of the job of bidding, or do they?
Yeah, they see that for
Okay.
sure. Yeah, they want to know
And
what your usage
Is
is.
it matched with the town employee side?
It goes all
Data?
together. Right?
No, but I mean, is it similar to?
It's one package, so your percentage is across everybody.
Is your usage the
But I
same as
mean,
the
It's one
education?
package.
No, but is it?
No.
You can't tell.
Everybody.
You can't tell. It's one package.
You can't.
Right,
It's
but
all
the
of us
usage
together.
is everybody, it's not
Right.
just.
Right. When we say we have good usage, it's our group.
Okay,
Our
And
group is
there's
the town.
nobody over the 100,000, which is one of their trigger points. So we're being treated incredibly poorly,
yeah.
even though we have a very good record.
Wow.
Yes, wow, was right. So we felt when we budgeted 10% that we were being safe. I presented to the board, I'm like, look, I would be surprised if this wasn't a zero. And I think our data shows that we could even have a decrease under zero. So when we got a 32.4, what did we miss? Well, I don't think we missed anything.
Mhm.
Everything's about profit.
It is 100% about profit. So we will see what the bids do.
Bids are due in Monday, and our agent needs a day or so to pull it all together and check it, and they have to make a chart. The regulations are, very much against us, including what Phil already talked about, where when they put it out to bid, they have to tell the bidders what the last bids were so that they can bid right up below it. Apparently,
Do we know where those rules come from?
it's all in the insurance, the state. So I had a meeting in person with Jeff Gordon yesterday. We just talked about this amongst a whole list of things. And he said that the insurance commission, which is supposed to essentially regulate it, is as ineffective as we've been hearing about PURA, the utility regulation. And the majority of the people on the insurance commission are somehow connected within the insurance industry, which gives them a certain amount of expertise, which is sold as being valuable to the people of Connecticut, but B, it gives them all the connections to the insurance industry. And the lobbying is intense. The insurance companies have, even if a session goes till 3:00 in the morning, the insurance company has a whole line of lobbyists sitting in the audience. And every time a rep comes in the door or out the door to go to the bathroom or anything, the people all get up and shake hands and say, hey, I'm, representing Aetna. Just, want to make sure we're here to help and all that. It is very not by the people for the people.
The board has already said, at their meeting on Tuesday, if we get an insurance change, that would automatically come off the budget. then there's no expectation to hold a special meeting to go back to vote. They just expect that you would reduce the budget by that amount of money. So if there's a $20,000 savings, you're taking $20,000 off. If it's $150,000, you're taking $150,000 off. If it goes all the way to, 20% off and it's 160, great. If it's better than that, any insurance savings, take it off.
Just one more comment on the insurance. Our agent was informed by people from the insurance companies that they were concerned about some of how we've been discussing this in our meetings. They're watching all our videos. They're spending that much effort to watch our videos here and comment to our agent about how we're talking about the insurance. Literally in this budget season.
What's the problem with you talking about a 32.4%?
Because we're bad mouthing the insurance.
I don't know if I said it or Mike said it, doesn't matter, but I will say I said it. Typically, we get a not to exceed. So I said, we don't have a not to exceed, but the number we were gonna use as our not to exceed is 10%. They didn't like that. Because we didn't give you a not to exceed. We realized that. We don't have anything from you. So we had to budget a number. So talking to our insurance agent and looking what we've done in the past, we felt in our data, we felt that a 10%, they said 10 to 12, I said our data is outstanding, put in 10. That's what they're unhappy about. So I don't know if it was Mike or myself, but I know I said that. And I would say it again. We did not have a not to exceed number. We made our own not to exceed. No matter how they take that. So I'm hoping that it drops and there's a much better bid than what we were offered.
So I'm guessing there's no relief on this, but is there an official on the state side who looks out for, sort of overreaching?
That's
The insurance commission.
Okay.
Yeah. And I happen to be saying, it was like perfect timing for me to walk in and get breakfast yesterday at Flat Pennies when I saw Mike and Jeff there, and we talked about the insurance piece for a bit, and that's Jeff is very aware of it, and especially as a doctor. That's something that the oversight of that, if you just watch the news, Colchester, Hartford, all of these places that are getting crushed with insurance, no one can afford it.
Could you just recap for me, if you have the separate figures in your, of this, 8.78% increase that is pretty much all beyond your control, how much is from the insurance issue and how much is from the seventh student needs?
I will say the insurance, I think we calculated 10% was $88,000. And so you're looking at a 30% increase. You're looking at $250,000
Okay.
in that ballpark. And I've said this from the get-go, staffing contracts is probably a couple $100,000. The insurance is about $250,000 and the outplacement's a couple $100,000. Beyond that, I'd have to go back and see what the specifics were.
So
The
pushing at
outplacement,
the million,
yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Are there other questions? I'm sorry, are you finished with your?
Yeah,
framing
unless you have
and
any other
comments?
questions. I mean, we tried to put this together so it was clear, and you could see the different scenarios, whether it was impact 1, 2, or 3. And just, it would allow people to see what would be eliminated.
That's really nicely done, thank you. It's
Things
easy
are
to
more
see.
safe as a process.
I had just one
Yeah,
question.
go ahead.
Yeah.
So when you did your presentation back in February,
Yeah.
I had asked you, if there was the chance that you'd be able to let staff out. You said that you would look to see if anybody was coming up for retirement. You said nobody was coming up for retirement. There was nobody whose contracts you could buy out either.
Correct.
So if you were looking at that, how many positions were you thinking of ending?
You mean, close to retirement? What do you want?
No, if you were thinking of not filling those positions and just letting those people go, how much were you willing to let go?
Well, that's what that is, I think.
So these are the people that you were willing to let go here?
We're not willing to let go of anybody, but if we have to, that would be the order it would be in. Is that what you're asking? I think.
No, I mean, it sounded like, so you were looking at retirements coming up.
Correct.
So you were open at least to not filling those positions, or you weren't?
I understand what you're
open, but you were
saying, yes.
looking at it?
So typically when you offer some sort of retirement, hey, I'm gonna give you $10,000 if you retire now, because I'm not gonna fill the position and it saves the position. It just depends on where that person would be. And we happen to be a lot of people, so retirement is 30 years plus for teachers. And we don't have a lot of people in that area. We have, I think, a couple right now, but they're on the non-certified union side. So there's nobody in the teaching side that's in that group. It would just be where that person happened to be. So if it was I'll give you an example. It was a 7th grade math teacher that was close to retirement, and we said, hey, will you consider this? And they said, yes, I will go. That 7th grade math teacher, I still would have to fill unless the 8th grade math teacher could take all of the classes in the schedule. Because of certification from the state, you have to have the 7 plus, 7 to 12. If it were an elementary school position, Bruce, it'd be easier. If it were a 3rd grade teacher and we had a retirement, the board could look and go, okay, I'm going to move this teacher from 1st grade to this grade so that we have a better distribution across, and that's where we might not be able to fill it, as long as the numbers in each class were reasonable. Does that make sense?
Yeah, kind of, but so as far as like the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd grades go,
Yeah.
you've got some classes that have like 12 to 15 students in them.
Correct.
So it would seem to me that if you've got classes that small, it would be easier to reduce those classes and put those classes together. Because up at the top, once you get up to 7th, 8th grade, now you've got 20 or more students per class.
So the lower grades, when you look at, this is what's hard about being small. We have 2 sections in, I think, every single K1, 2. Next year is what the proposal is. And the bottom of this, what you're asking about,
Yeah, what page are you on there?
the very bottom of this, Bruce, is the classroom teacher 1, even though it says Olivia Rovolino, that would be the final that would be an elementary teacher cut. If you look at the board's budget and you look at this, page 7.
Yep.
This is where it's hard, because when you already have 2 sections, you can't put them into a class of 33 or 34. So, K1, 2 is already at 2 sections. The 3rd grade section that is in, next year, that would be, I did have it right, it's 47, at 30. The other night you said 4th grade, it's just clarifying something. The 3rd grade section where it says 40, 13, 13, 14, that would be the group that where that cut on that page would be impacted. That teacher would actually move, they'd bump up to the middle school. And so then it would be 2 sections all the way across. The 4th grade would maintain 3 sections at 14, 15, and 15. That would be sections of 22 and 23. That's where the cut on the page that you're looking at below the line, where it says teacher 1, very at the bottom, classroom teacher number 1.
Mhm.
That is where the board has that, where it impacts that.
So where this sits is almost a 9% increase.
Yeah.
7, 8. What's your feeling for what, if this gets past this board, it goes to vote in town, how do you think this is gonna fare? 9% or 8, 7, 8?
I don't think it fares well. I think people have to have the information about what would be cut. Do I think, and I said this, to the board, I don't expect that it stays at that. I really don't. Between insurance, and I expect that you're going to have to make some challenging decisions. It's just the exercise to get to 3 to me is not reality. You would not be able to recover as a district for 20 years.
Because there's not that many levers to pull in this town to pull down the whole budget.
Agreed.
What are we gonna beat up public works some more?
No, I agree.
Can't solve the road in the winter, or we going after the fire department, maybe there's some money there, there's
Agreed.
not a lot of.
Well,
places
in
to look.
fairness, Public Works budget is
Yeah.
largely expansion. From where we are, this is talking about going into the bones because of the mandates that we have no control on as part of it.
And I
Gotta
honestly
get it to pass.
Yes, I know.
agree.
But
Agreed.
then like, but look at this, I mean, just giving up your non-lapsing fund, which is not good for this board because it means there's no padding if something happens.
Right.
Then we go to the fund balance or something else in an emergency. And then, but then the supplies, which are all, things that I think you need to operate, but if you go without those, you come down there, you're already 2 percentage points down, just doing that before you even get to staff. So he's not talking about nothing here. I mean, because he knows, and the Board of Ed knows, or they would not be doing a pretty elaborate stair stepping of priorities.
But yeah, this just paints a picture that over the next several years, this keeps that it's unsustainable. That's where like regionalization.
I know.
This is unsustainable.
Yeah, it is. And the drivers in this particular year, I mean, obviously, I don't think we would be having anywhere near this problem or this discussion. If it weren't for those two big, 500,000 babies.
You have $2 million for foul placements. I mean, that's the reality of it. And it's a fair expectation for a district to have a couple, even when you're small. It's a fair expectation, but we've never
We
had.
ballooned out in a pretty fast.
We did, and that's, so Walter, you're right, it's not sustainable, and that's where I don't think I've ever had to do this much outreach to state reps and senators, because it's around special education, it's around ECS funding, it's around small towns and poverty, our ECS funding, so we're right now ranked 10th in the state for there's a new level of poverty that they're trying to look at, and it's like based upon number of jobs, a variety of things. We're number 10. And we have the lowest ECS percentage funding than anybody else by a lot. So you look at like, hey, someone's getting 60% and we're getting 39. So that every dollar we're getting to support from the state, that's awareness. And that's the stuff I sent to Tammy. It's the stuff I sent to Jeff. There's other towns on that list in the state, not near us, that are in the same boat. And we sent a letter together advocating like this, something has to change. You can't be on this list and not get some better state support. I've heard that they're not increasing funding for special education next year. That to me is that just baffling. Like every superintendent in the state and Board of Education is yelling out loud, we need help around special education. Tammy's been doing it. Jeff's been doing it. I don't know if it's a lobbyist. I have no idea. But those are the things where that's what's not sustainable. So those are things that we're trying to advocate for.
Do they give a reason why we're at 39% as opposed to somebody else being?
ECS has been broken for many years and no one has had a good solution on how to solve it. Because it costs a lot of money.
They're using it sort of to balance the budget in a way, right?
They're trying.
Tool of, don't commit it until you have to or whatever.
Yeah.
It's all those unfunded pensions. There it is.
Well, I know that there's some.
Capping
Some
special
things done in the
education, I mean, the fact that, statutorily, they're supposed to provide the percentage that is in statute. We're supposed to get 91% reimbursement on anything 4.5 times our per pupil. We're not getting that number. We're getting in 70%. And that's just, it's illegal.
Is it still at 72?
They capped us this year because there's so much cost across the state, you get capped. And that's, again, there's another increase that's in your budget. We had an offset in your budget, I think of $425,000 or something. And if you look at the special education program, we couldn't do that again because we'd be in the hole. If you look at page 14, last year for excess cost, we had offset the budget. We planned on 409 for this year. We're getting 360,000. So we're in the hole. So, and we were told that wasn't going to change again for next year. We were planning on, when I first wrote this, I don't have the first draft. I don't know if it was 425 or 450. I think it's 450 because we had the additional outplacement. We had to bring it back down to 361, 920 because that's what we got this year. Like that's money that now comes back on the town.
Mhm.
So those things are just really frustrating. We're very frugal with what we do. There's certain areas that are just, really challenging to control. Special education is volatile, so it's always been, and this jump in insurance is unreal.
Are there any further questions for Phil? Although you definitely can stick around if you want to, I'm pretty busy.
Yeah.
Any?
Thanks for
We're
listening.
here. Thank you. Thank you for your involvement.
So,
Board members.
as far as when you get that answer about how much the insurance increase is going to be, is that next week you get that?
So the bids are supposed to be in Monday, and Mike and I on the call said we need that as soon as possible. We expect fully, and our broker knows this, we need that information, so I don't even want to say you can deduct it because I hope it's the deduction. If there's a lower number, Bruce, that it can come off of your appropriations next week and it's gonna be for town and Board of Ed.
Yeah, the agent said, we'll definitely have the whole grid put together and have verified everything by the end of the week. I said, it has to be Thursday, not the end of the week. It has to be Thursday. It's our last meeting of our budget process. We need the information. So they promised we would have it on Thursday.
So can we just hold off any further discussion on the Board of Education till next week?
Well, I mean, I think we needed to hear this now.
Oh, yeah.
It's, yeah, no, I don't think
that was
we're,
my
I
expectation.
don't think we're gonna go any further till we know some more, till we have the piece in place. It's a big player, so of course it's nothing, honestly, it's kind of pushing us to finals week. And we're gonna be cramming at the last minute, so I think we have to do some, serious discussing about other cost centers right now. Assuming, I mean, the first scenario is taking it down 10 percentage points, which is already a pretty big drop. I mean, in the world of business, so
Steph,
it's starting at low.
could I just do some follow-up on what Phil was
Please
talking
do.
about with the
Sure.
legislature and stuff?
Sure.
So as you heard, I met with, Jeff yesterday. We probably spent a little over an hour, having breakfast and talking about all these things. ECS, if y'all remember years ago, you used to hear all the time about slot revenues from the casinos
Yeah.
going into state funds.
Right.
The fund is called, I think it's called the Mashantucket Pequot and Mohegan Fund. And that legislation is very surprisingly simple and clear, that the money from what they used to call on the news all the time slot revenues would go into a fund, and it would be divided by a formula amongst the communities in the state. There's the formula leans towards communities more affected by the location and the traffic related to the casinos, of course. But even though we are not in that close proximity, at the height of what we were getting, which was in the late 1990s, I think.
Okay.
I had all the numbers, but that was a week ago.
Short 30 years ago.
Wellington was at $126,000 revenue from the state from that fund on our peak year. And other years around that were like 117, things like that. So we're over 100,000. This and previous governors have started dipping into that fund and using that fund to balance the budget, similar to the conversation about this other stuff. And the language on the fund is very clear. The law is very clear. The money goes to the communities, but apparently it's been a wink and a nod, whatever, and it just happens, and they use it to balance the budget. So they've been cutting down what goes to the communities so they can keep the money at the state. We're now down to $17,000. So as everything goes up, costs go up. I have no idea what's happening with slot revenues, but as all our costs are going up, the revenue to us from that fund is going down. And the fund isn't running dry. That's not the reason we're going down. The fund actually has right now $152 million. So one of the I can't even remember now if it's the councils of government or cost or one of these organizations that helps the communities work with the legislature did a big drive last week because there was legislation coming through that would make the language even clearer in the law by amending it to say that the funds cannot be used at the state level to balance the budget. Even though you shouldn't be able to do it now, it was adding more language to try to drive the money back to the communities. So they asked all the, various leaders of all the towns to sign the letter. We did. I talked to Jeff about it yesterday. I talked to Tammy about it today. No read on any of this stuff yet. No hints on where any of this stuff is going because they're still grinding through the budget discussion process. And unfortunately, they just can't get a feel on where this is going. But the encouraging thing is both sides, the Democratic caucus and the Republican caucus, are pushing for changes to drive more money back towards the town. There's various different ways they're talking about it. Some people are talking about more changes in capping taxes, which I think pushes us further backwards because it restricts our ability here. But some are talking about getting the revenue we're supposed to be getting sent to us. So that's sort of the unfortunate news out of the conversations with Jeff and Tammy yesterday. Just don't know yet.
Okay, is there any sort of, power in, towns banding together and?
That's what we're doing through the COGS and the, and cost.
But nothing legal that could be done with the original wording or anything like that?
They're blatant, as Phil said about the other thing, it's black and white, they're not following the law.
Okay.
I'm not sure how we resolve that other than maybe hiring a whole bunch of attorneys to sue our own state, which seems like a pretty expensive proposition.
Yeah, it does.
We clearly don't have the money.
Yeah.
Yes, and they made sure we don't have the money for it.
I
Yes.
think we were looking at cutting illegal. Sorry. Okay, thanks. I think we could move on with you. You've got the floor on the closeout projects.
Okay,
You don't mind
I'll be brief.
bringing that up?
Hopefully, everyone on the board has had a chance to get a quick look at it. I'll just quickly go over the memo. Technically, the memo is from me to Sherry, but Donna, Sherry, and I spent a lot of time between yesterday and today working on, Donna helped Sherry and I understand how to navigate project closeouts, how to research them, get the history, etc. So in the memo, which I think everybody has,
Which memo are you referring to now?
Stephanie sent it out by email. Do they all have it in their
We don't have
packets?
a print of it.
It might not have a print because.
All right, so let's look
packet
at this.
Been made when it came out.
And this, so I'll just go over it quickly. So I sent a memo to Sherry directing that she close a bunch of projects. I'll list them very quickly. 03-0037 GIS project in fiscal year 2008. This project moved from capital, from the CIP plan into operational budgets in planning and zoning. So that project as a capital project closed out or finished. And there was money left over waiting for the last bills to come through. Again, this was 2008. It's clear there's nothing left. There's still $10,160 left in that. Project 03-3047 town facility study. Last activity on this account was 2010. There's $2,476 left in that. Dog warden truck. Last activity on that project was 2013, $106 left. 03-3081 Public Works diesel fuel tank. Last activity was 2021. Balance is $1,686. Village Hill Drainage Phase 2. Project will now be grant funded and tracked under a different project. Balance is $60,000. Project 03-3091 Winterized Willington Fire Department number 1. Project was completed. Last activity on the account was 2023. Balance remaining, which actually was from another closed project that got transferred to that one, is $7,396. And then we've already talked a little bit about CIP project 22-13, Wellington Hill Fire Department Design and Engineering for 25 Old Farms Road. Project now falls under the Facility Study Committee, with projects yet to be determined. The balance on that one is $100,000. And the last one is project 22-16, Wellington Hill Fire Department Survey, 25 Old Farms Road. Project also now falls under the Facility Study Committee. Projects yet to be determined. The balance on that is $10,000.
So that's the 110 we talked about before.
That's the 100, right? Those last two were the 110. So what that led to was suggested motions. And I think Stephanie was working on formatting the motion in a way that felt better, but basically there's two motions because there's two different fund groups that these projects are residing in right now. And so one motion is to transfer $81,826.83 back to the general fund, so it's showing the fund balance, and the other one is to transfer $110,000 from a different fund back to the general fund, so it shows the fund balance. So that's the speedy review.
Right, I can, go ahead and, make the motion, but, or you can ask questions of Mike if you wanted to know. Did you sort of explain where it's going and what the,
I just briefly said that both of these motions would return this total of 191,000 and something, to the general fund, Fund 01, which would then show up in the fund balance. We had talked a little bit in previous weeks here about reducing the capital transfer in some other ways, because you would sort of be trading one project money for another. But based on the conversation with Donna and sort of trying to make a clearer path, really the right way or the recommended way is to close the projects, return the money essentially to the taxpayers by putting it in the fund balance. Then the project is any money in the capital accounts or whatever is relieved for those projects. The money is all sitting in the fund balance. This board can look at the fund balance and see what the true amount of dollars is available in the fund balance, make a determination if that can, or some amount can be used in that last process that you do each time of applying fund balance to the budget. So that's the path that these two motions would do, and return the money from the various other accounts to the general account 01.
and just remind the board, as we learned a couple of weeks ago, fund balance really doesn't have available funds to offset the impact of a tax increase like we usually use it, because it's only funded just slightly under 10%, which is a mid-range of what we like to hold. And I happen to think it's already pretty low. It's pretty low threshold because to do that, because it only allows the town really in emergency to operate for a little over a month. And you should, by according to Hoyle, have a couple months at least, you know.
Well, and our auditor says every year we should have 3 months.
Yeah, no, that's what a town that has a revenue stream does. I'm gonna go ahead and move this to close projects 03-0037 GIS project for $10,000, 160.71. Next project is 03-3047 town facility study for $2,476.66. 03-3058 dog warden truck for $106.69. 03-3081 public works diesel tank for $1,686. 03-3088 Village Hill Drainage Phase 2 for $60,000. And 03-3091 winterize Wellington Fire Department number 1 for $7,396.77, and transfer $81,826.83 from Fund 03 Capital to Fund 01 General. Is there a second?
Second.
Jay?
Yeah.
Okay. And then, any discussion about that motion? Okay, moving on, hearing none, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passed unanimously. Okay, I move that we close CIP projects 22-13 for $100,000 and 22-16 for $10,000 and transfer $110,000 from Fund 04 General Reserve to Fund 01 General. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you all. Any discussion on that one? That's 100,000. So I'm directing it a little differently than originally we did in the magic spreadsheets. Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Passed unanimously. Thanks, Mike. For that. I'd like to.
Just one thing, I think that is in the latest version. The change, the dialing back the transfer where we had been talking about it before, that was put back. So what is in there matches what you just approved.
Great.
That was this.
Yeah.
Over.
Yeah, and I don't know if Sherry's put it into the fund balance yet. Or I think she was waiting for the motion to pass tonight to put it in the fund balance.
Yeah.
That might be uppity to do it early or something. Thanks. Thanks. So Sherry, if you want to mention this one sheet handout you gave us at press time.
I just copied it, I just printed off the last page because there was just the numbers changed on it, the 250,000 transfer we were just talking about. And I updated the Board Ed number. And I just did the last page because all the numbers are the same on the first 10 pages. I
Okay,
can reprint everything if anyone needs it, but I didn't want to.
and then it gets to the total page, but that
Yeah.
is adding the impact of the 32.4% health insurance increase to the
Correct.
Board of Ed.
Yes,
We already had that in the town side, but not in the Board of Ed.
correct.
Now
Yeah,
we do, thus their 8.8% impact there. Okay. So having said that, I just want to tee us up a little bit here so that, you know, I have the old businesses, budget discussions and possibility of appropriations. I don't advise that we go into appropriations tonight at all. There's just too much in play, too much big stuff going on. We can certainly talk about that piece if you want, but I think it would be a little out of order to kind of do some and not really know what the big impacts are going to do with the rebidding, unless I'm happy to hear.
I agree
Anyone
with you
wants to-
because, those are huge numbers, like with the insurance and everything.
Yeah,
And we're just gonna be having a discussion all over again, maybe a little differently, don't have that number.
exactly. And I just want to say that this is, I mean, you know, I think some people could sort of get a little numb to this and, you know, kind of like we've been saying this for the last couple of years. But honestly, folks, it's a unique year to me for a lot of reasons, but part of it is, you know, we really don't have a revenue underpinning. We don't have a large fund balance. Some of the things that we've counted on in the past, a couple of years ago, we applied 700,000 from the fund balance to bring down a pretty big budget. And there was external forces in that one that led to that kind of a move. The next year we applied, which was last year, we applied 400,000, I think. And then this year, it's just, if you look at it and you think about the fiscal health of the town, it's just dicey to do too much. We had this transfer. there may be an opportunity there, which is a little bit of a pressure release valve, but not much when you're talking about the numbers the way they are. So I don't know about whether you pray or you lobby or you do whatever pressure in your life, do everything, because that 32.4 is a real big number, and the transfer out unbudgeted mandate is a real big number. And personally, I don't think anyone here wants to see it come out of the frankly, the heart of the schools locally that serve the families here. That being said, we're gonna be the ones that make the ugly decision. So ultimately, and try to balance them. So is there anyone who wants to put an area of spending or a discussion on the table about anything?
I would like to know what this 7.3% total budget does to a taxpayer. Let's use the example of like the $200,000 house. That's
Well, it's not gonna do anything to the taxpayers because they're not gonna vote for it. They're gonna vote it down. You know, it's like last year, Peter Tanaka brought a graph in, and it showed that once you come close to 5%, you start going over, it's less likely you're going to pass a budget. And historically, in all the towns around us, that's the way it's always played out. So there's no way the taxpayers are going to approve a budget that high.
Odds on the table.
chance not.
Yes.
There's a good chance not, but it's still,
Walter, you were,
I think it's still it still behooves us to go through the exercise. We have to have all the information.
I know for me, it gives me just a little grounding to hear what this does to.
Yeah.
Walter, you were asking a $200,000 house. The budget as it sits right now, what you're seeing in front of you, and have we applied, did you apply any, fund?
We've got 491.
We applied $491,000 in fund balance. The 191 we got from the transfers you just did. Yep. So we did 300 plus the 191. And it makes it right now at, just under $600 for a $200,000 house.
$200,000 house is rare these days.
Yeah.
What was that again?
Just under $600 for a $200,000 assessed house, not appraised.
Wow. Okay, thank you.
What would, I definitely want you to comment, but not right now, if you don't mind. I guess the big question there is why the 200,000 fund balance that we don't have? That would drive down to 8, right?
Yeah, that would bring us down to 8.
Like, what's the impact without that 200, leave the 191 in, but at 200, I mean, do you want to know that?
I agree.
So you're saying do a 300,000 transfer instead of a 491? Just the 191,
Yeah,
sorry.
take the other 200 out.
Okay, you're now at just under $700 for a $200,000 house.
You're at what?
Just under $700 increase, 684.
We going?
What do you say?
Nothing.
Oh, I thought you were.
I just talking to myself. Doing math.
Yeah.
Mike,
No,
do we have any idea on how many houses that category would represent? Or what percentage of our population that represents?
Phil and I had done this exercise a few years ago, but not since reval. At that point, the average house was 174, Phil, was it? I think the average
Was lower than we thought.
the average assessed for taxes was 174. I'm sure it's not anymore after reval.
so it's probably, I would guess, really just under 200. I mean, under three.
Under 3.
Yeah.
Sounds lower.
Yeah, like 2 8 or something. Yeah. let's see.
That would have to be a question, you know, we'd have to
Yeah.
either do some math ourselves or ask Kara to run some sort
Yeah.
of number.
Yeah. Well, she's here all day on the long day, right? So I could ask her Monday. She might help us out with that. Okay. I was trying to think. I think I computed what the, you know, with the insurance number and the Board of Ed number, which it wasn't before, with everything in the town budget sort of tightened up to, you know, to the day. Without that 191,000 figured in then, but we can figure it in now. The cutting total was significantly more than I think we were talking about before. It's like 1.1 million, something like that, 1.2. So it's quite a large number, which means, you know, to get it down to like a 4%, just worrying about the numbers, not how to get there. I believe that's what I found in the calculator. Now, there's some things that, you know, that were already kind of big, that cuts the selectmen made that were big numbers. They had made around 412 that was in the magic spreadsheet, but 110 of that has now been moved to fund balance. It will serve a similar role as part of fund balance in the final computation of the mill rate, but it's no longer in the cutting column. So I just wanted to mention that. I think we have to do some things that no one is going to like, but I do differentiate, frankly. I mean, I know the town needs to grow in certain areas, like for instance, tree removal, for instance, is in our face. That's not even a big budget cut anyway, if we did it. But it's in our face because we have like pestilence and dead trees that are really poised to keel over. And in fact, you know, a few of them have. Public Works is trying to do its best to kind of go to the trouble areas. We've heard from a citizen about, you know, a tree fall. One fell on a house over at the Knoll Hill area. While people are snowbirding or whatever they're doing.
Yeah, that was just a tree though.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that was their own.
Yeah, but all of us have these old trees.
Yeah.
And if they're now sort of, you know, there are.
Yeah, we just had that windstorm too, a couple of days ago.
I know,
A lot of
it was
people had no
crazy.
power for a while.
Yeah. Yeah, like all day, town offices had to close. So, yeah, that was, you know, but like, for instance, expanding the paving or going to rubber chip or something like that. I'm just not sure this is the year we can invest much more. I think we're gonna have to take more out of that. You know, Public Works is $2 million budget. It's by far the largest town side budget. And so it's, the ask, I think, was over $500,000 in the beginning. The Board of Selectmen have already cut, what, Mike, 300,000, I think, something close to that. So of that ask. So, you know, it's for the people in the town who are all of us who realize we have a lot of road and a lot of catching up. It's just not gonna happen with these numbers that I'm seeing.
Well, I mean, they say that we're supposed to be paving 2 roads per year, and if we don't pave any roads, we're going to have to catch up at some point. That's going to be more expensive.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. We have the money to do what we've done before, except for, you know, economies of scale, but it's not. So I'm not saying stop the paving. I'm saying it's not a year to expand it.
But that's also part of the problem with refusing to increase the budget every year. You can't continue, the cost of everything continues to go up. If you refuse to spend more money, you're never gonna be able to catch up. That's why we've gotten to where we're at with everything in town.
You wanna put something else on the table? I mean.
No,
it's not-
I don't
it's
have
not
any
like-
other, I don't have, it's just, that's just the reality of the situation. I understand the poverty level in town. I understand all that. We've been talking about it. I've been on the board for 3 years now. I understand it. I get it. But at some point, you're gonna have to pay more money. You can't continue to not pay money and then expect the same services you had or increase services.
Well, like your own household budget, if you don't have the money, you don't do the things you normally did, you know, you gotta do something about it or you go broke. It's pretty easy.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and if you don't do something about it, your house falls down around you, and that's kind of what's happening with the town. The town is falling down around us, literally in some spots, but people still
Or you
refuse.
get another job and raise more revenue, like we don't do here. We don't raise more revenue. We don't bring anything into the town to raise revenue. We want more. It's a no-win situation.
Yeah, and I'm not arguing that, but people refuse to allow more businesses to come in. People refuse to spend more money. That you can't continue to do the same thing. That's the definition of insanity, is doing the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result.
We also don't have a lot of businesses knocking on our doors. either.
No, I get it. But a lot of it has to do with
Everything
not
is on
taking
the,
care of what we have.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to come to a place that's not going to take care of what we have.
yeah, we're gonna have to invest to get, I mean, whether it's utility infrastructure to get businesses or whatever, it's. We're not gonna get much without giving something.
At some point, you have to spend money to get money. You gotta invest, you get people to want to come here.
Well, I'm gonna recommend that we think about removing 25,000 from account 0311-680 in chip seal. That is 25,000 of it, 250,000 increased. They may still be able to go to the rubber chip seal for that, with that cut, since that's only 10% of that. But
So Steph, I'll just make a comment on that. I don't think we need to get hung up on the rubber chip seal thing. It's a
Okay.
chip seal budget. And
okay, good.
whether,
It's
You know,
high price, yeah.
yeah, it's that money is gonna get a certain amount of road done. If it's the rubber chip seal, it'll get less road done because it's more expensive. If it's the standard, it'll get more road done. Either way, it'll
Yeah,
get some
yeah.
amount of work
And
done.
one lasts longer than the other and is better to work with.
Either way,
And
They can
just
make that
remember,
decision.
you can't make a motion on the line.
I'm not making a motion.
Yeah, I'm just saying before you go to a motion, so. It'll end up being on Public Works overall, but you're pointing it to reducing. The chips, I just want to
Yeah,
write it in the
I'm
right
thinking,
place, yep, chip seal goes down to 225.
Like, what are we thinking about, protocol that, do we have to do something official in order to enter it in and
We
take
can
it?
say a cut.
You don't have to until you do your appropriations and vote on the motions. You could move these numbers up and down all over the place, right? I mean, then see
Yeah.
what
We
the
just
result
Make
is.
sure we keep track of them, and that's, by the way, why you have that handy dandy sheet in there. It's sort of a landscape print, for you guys to keep track if you want to. Anything that we kind of,
Which sheet?
there's these. It's like as that, I think it's, there's actually a couple of, I think there's more than one page on it. So that you can. It's in your packet.
Okay.
So you can, I know, yeah, I think it's 3 pages with the spillover being the calculator data at the bottom.
Yeah,
Where you put
missing the
final-
last 2 pages of the general government budget.
You are,
Yeah. I don't know if anybody else is.
where all the secret stuff is there.
Yeah.
I want page 8 right now with the, public works.
Yeah.
So anyway, placeholder for, for further discussion, but for starters, I do need a pen. Thank you. So, let's see, so it would be on that, whatever.
What is public works thing?
Yeah.
Page 8.
Oh, that's in the regular budget. I guess it's the one on the sheet that should be, just,
Yeah, there's public work.
yeah, I'm just trying to see where.
Line 311. It's line 311.
Oh,
You're talking about overall in the worksheet?
Yeah, there it is. So, I mean, I guess I would mark, 25K for this, the seal, chip seal, and 93K for the asphalt. But those just go, they're not
So-
line item, but that's what my thought is. To
So
have this,
Steph, where are you putting that 93?
in
Asphalt, where,
Public Works, I mean, it's also, it's in 311, 680 line wise, but, as you point out.
well, 681 is asphalt.
Oh, 680.
Yeah, but I'm asking
Sorry.
what box the 93 is going in. Are you taking the budget from 317 down to 93,000 or what were you?
93 from it.
From 93 from it. I'm sorry.
So it was a $92,000 increase, so you're saying go to flat and then under by 1,000? Is that what you're saying?
What do I have?
I'm not arguing, I just want to write the numbers the way you're.
I don't know. I had that the ask is 317.
Correct, which was an
47%.
increase, of 92,000.
Okay,
40.9% increase, right?
40.9, yeah.
yeah.
So what number are you
Okay.
suggesting goes?
Let's make it 92.
Well, it already is 92.
Yeah, so make it flat.
Remove 90.
Instead, remove that 90.
Oh, you're saying take the $92,000 increase out of it?
The increase that.
Okay. Gotcha.
He has a lot of, he has a lot of, he's got a lot of budget there and he's got some other round numbers. He wants to apply it elsewhere. That's just, that's what he knows best.
Yeah, I mean, I think he would argue that what he knows is we need to maintain our roads too, but.
No, I know.
I have entered the number in the right place, so
Okay.
so you're flatlining that, got it.
Anyone else want to dive in? If not, there's something else that's a tough one.
What? Their equipment purchase line. What equipment do they purchase? You know,
Not sure, I know exactly, let's see. No.
it's, well, if it's what I think it is, it's the trucks and like the excavator from years past. Well, maybe not the excavator, because I think we paid cash for that, but we leased them. We used to lease them all. And,
Yeah,
so those lease payments come out of that line item. But But in the last few years, we haven't been leasing.
No, the lease payments are elsewhere in here. There are lease payments in here, but they're not in that line now.
Line 940.
Yeah. Just cause it's a flat request for this
Yep.
year, he kept it at 15, but like.
Yep.
Or for next year, this year, it was approved at 15,000, but they've only spent as of March 3rd, like 4625. So I was just curious like, is that something that's gonna?
Yeah, I
later in
can't,
the year?
I'm not exactly sure what equipment gets purchased in that. I could certainly have that information and let's get it to Stephanie to be shared.
Is there a way we could like earmark that with a asterisk, maybe bring that down? Some,
Yeah,
I mean,
I can't,
no,
I can't give you a good opinion because I don't know what it is.
no, I know, that just spitballing, I know it's kind of nickel and diming, it's only $5,000, but, or something, 5 to 10, but
Well,
without knowing what it is
Yeah.
especially, but.
I mean, we just chopped almost $120,000 out of public works.
No, I know. I get it. And
I will ask the question.
it seems like this is the other one that we always go after too, so.
I can comment on that if you would like to know now. It's Heather,
Oh, yeah,
Burlington Public
yeah.
Works.
Yeah, thank you, Heather.
Heather,
Okay, so the equipment purchase, it's not something that's been like gradually throughout the year. When we usually, as we get towards the end of the fiscal year, we assess some equipment pieces, some of the larger pieces, and see if they need replacement or repairs. And that's usually when that kind of stuff comes out towards the end, a big chunk. Sometimes it does come out as a chunk earlier if something big breaks. But that 15,000 is, it does get used, not frivolously, trust me.
No, I wasn't.
Could you give a couple examples, Heather, of some things that
Yeah.
face?
So, yeah, I was getting there. So, like for instance, last year we bought an attachment that was kind of a wish list item, but something that absolutely was needed. We just never had the money for it. We had some money left in equipment purchase at the end of the season, because luckily a lot of things didn't break, big ones. So it was a specific attachment for like it was a grapper tool that makes their job, the guy's jobs, easier for using bigger items like trees and things like that and rocks and that they didn't have before that they did with manual labor. So things like that, things that would not even just nice to have, but things that create more efficiency and things get done faster because we only have 4 full-time guys. These kind of equipment purchases do help with the overall efficiency and proficiency of what they can do in public works. And that's why that line item doesn't empty. So we try not to empty that early for that reason, so we can get what we need. Does that
Thank
help?
you. Yeah, thank you.
thanks, Heather.
Yep.
Shall we talk about the library?
I was just gonna say the exact.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, this is a rough one. So their ask is hoping to restore the 58,000 we cut last year, plus the 7,000 that they did not take out of savings, plus under 3% increase for, obvious costs that have gone up with the rate of inflation and everything else. So what I'm gonna recommend for starters, first of all, I do not see anywhere, any way, shape or form where we can find a cool 50 grand to apply. I just don't know how we would do it. It basically would be an additional cut with a starting of needing to reduce the budget to be, a more livable percentage overall. after this big insurance thing, the big transfer out thing, that are, elements that, are well beyond our control. I just can't see, cutting somewhere else for 50. I don't even know where we'd go. We're so down to, some pretty harsh cutting as it is. Like, I didn't really want to cut that much out of the roads, I'm just putting things on the table to start moving the discussion in a serious way. So what I think is we want to, we have a new director who's really great with a a board that's very supportive and smart about the choices they're making. They're starting to try to monetize, look at things that the library offers that they can charge for, makes sense to charge for, like the community room rentals for things like weddings and stuff like that people have realized it's a hidden gem and they get married real cheap if they want to. So I applaud all their proactive efforts. So I want to say that to cut 43,000, which leaves 7,000 from the original sort of cash outlay that we did last year, trying to make up the 50 plus, plus, that's it, 43. It's more than the percentage increase to grow the budget. It's about double that, I think, percentage wise.
About 8.
8%, which, but going from whatever it was, what was the percentage ask? It was pretty big.
26.
26.5, yeah. So, I'm putting that in as a placeholder. If other things sort of break and there's a little more relief, but I'm putting it there for discussion. If you guys agree with it.
All 50. Yeah, all 50, we're pulling money out of all kinds of other things, it's.
He said last week that he was assured that that money would be restored. And I don't know who told him that, because in our discussions, we never said that they were going to be restoring that money.
Well, I do understand the misunderstanding. Here's why. Well, first of all, we're on the Board of Finance and we understand when you cut something, it doesn't come back miraculously. But the pain that in a town like this especially is that you can cut something for the budget right then and to make sure it passes and, all those things. You can't build it back up at EC. It's not like we're gonna be able to slowly scale it back to recoup some of that loss in the situation we're in with no revenue source, it's just virtually impossible. So when you make a cut and, the school board cuts that, the sliding scale of priorities is a perfect example of that. That's going to be the new normal for at least, several years before they can build something like a big cut. So, and even then, things have to break our way. So I think this is the ugly part, I'm really looking at the realities. I just don't see where we could soften that blow. It's certainly true of other budgets, that have been cut heavily. I'm just making the case, you guys can,
So is this, the reality is, if we wanted to get down from a 7.3% increase to something more in the neighborhood of 4%, we're looking at cutting at least $1 million.
right.
Across these numbers. And that's, I think if we cut everything, I don't even get even adds up to $1 million.
Well,
That's just.
I think they're, there are things we can do, I mean, but,
I've seen,
Yeah.
I've seen it. So the thing is, we can't touch Region 19, that,
no, in Region 19's, what is it, 2.7?
it's 128,000.
128,000 growth, it's locked in, we never get anything really to say about it, but it's based on, a scale that's specific to how many Wilmington kids go there.
Right.
So, we know what the drill is, this is a good year, there've been years where, well, actually, I think it's a good year when we have a lot of kids there, but it's more expensive.
Christina, just checking that map.
Yeah,
I'm not sure, see that we need to take $1 million out to get there. Maybe I'm doing the math wrong.
yeah, maybe I'm not,
Because if $1.6 million is a 7.3% increase,
mhm,
half of 7.3% would be like 3.6, right? Which would be $7,500 or $800,000. You'd already be in the threes at 800,000.
mhm.
So I think maybe what we need is somewhere around 600,000 or 700,000 to get us into the fours.
Mhm.
I think.
And if we get into the fours, what kind of a mill increase is that?
Well, so I assume you plugged in the changes they just made. So we're at 6.8 right now with an increase of 1.476 million. Which is, we're down, to 556 on a $200,000 house.
That's after cutting.
That's after the two, that's
The two that
after
we've already
the
said.
two things that just came out of Public Works.
Oh, okay.
Oh, the two things in Public Works, not the library.
Did you adjust for the library yet?
No, I got it.
Yeah, we never.
Yeah, I didn't think you really,
The numbers at 43 or.
you were just kind of talking numbers, so we didn't.
I'd like to see that and then, up it later in the game. I mean, I'd like to see us try that. I just think it's his first year. First year, his budget gets whacked 50,000. He's got a lot of promise. He has a lot of ideas. I don't think that's, it's 7,000 of showing a little, support in the guy and faith in what he can do. And he wants to bring up his revenue offset. And he wants to do some things that are, I think, pretty smart, just from the emails he's been sending, so.
I'd like him to keep the 7 as opposed to having the 7 sit in Public Works, because it's gonna be a lot more demonstrative in the library than it will be effective in Public Works. I'm not saying where to take it, I'm just saying, look at its budgets.
It's pretty hard to put away what's more important, Public Works or library.
It's different, completely different needs and stuff and services, but
Completely different percentages and reality too. Look
Yeah.
at this.
So we haven't adjusted anything yet. I guess we're gonna wait for a little more clarity on this.
I mean, the other big number here is the ambulance. I hate to
Yeah.
say it, but it's an outlier.
can we put
It's a big one.
before we go to that, can we put something in and, I'm recommending 43 and see where we come out when we're doing, because there are some small cuts. I know it's like death by 1,000 cuts when we do that, but there are some smaller cuts that we can add in. There's one I could put up right now that I think we were solid in doing. Why don't I do that? If you don't mind, I mean, can we negotiate that later down to the, so if we put 43,
So you wanna cut 43
Yeah.
from the library?
yeah,
So the increase now for the transfer out should say 7,000. Right? If you're removing 43,000.
well, their ask is 58. No, 58,860.
No, but you
Oh, what, I'm sorry.
should update it to the 50. later in the day today.
Yeah, that's
Oh.
Yeah, right now it's showing a $50,000 increase.
Oh, okay.
Just trying to
He's
figure out
already
what
done
number
one.
you want in there, which box. On page 12, Jay, if that helps you.
A lot of that is offset on the revenue side that he's already toying with. So in a way, it's already 50.
I'm just asking what number you want us to plug into the math.
Yeah. I would like to give them a little more room to do what they're doing. So how would that look?
I don't know what number you picked.
Well, I picked a 43 rather than a 50 cut,
Okay,
but he's already made some cuts, so, I guess.
He already cut about 8,000.
to get it to 50,000. It's not a 50 cut.
Okay,
It's increasing by 50,000 right now instead of increasing by 58,000.
right.
So what do you want that number to be?
Yeah.
50,000.
I'd say 50, I'd say 57.
So you wanna add money
Does that
back
make
in?
sense?
No, you're gonna take,
No, you're
That's
gonna take,
lower than
you're talking about taking
this year's budget.
43.
You're reducing, not adding.
No, I'm sorry, I'm not really figuring out how to do this. I just didn't wanna hit them 50,000, wanna hit them 43,000.
Okay,
I don't want to,
So reduce it's just an increase of 43,000.
I think she's saying an increase of 7,000.
Yeah, she wanted there to be an increase of
Yeah.
7,000.
Okay, just wanna make sure. Plug it.
so, yeah,
Okay.
That would bring it to 228,903 for the transfer out. The library.
Okay. Yeah,
where are they on this?
okay. It's a lot of numbers.
Just trying to find, what line are they, what department number?
Transfer out.
17-0517.
No, I'm not.
It's like, about the sixth from the bottom on page 12.
No, I'm on the appropriation sheet,
Oh,
the worksheet,
okay.
sorry, yeah.
Library.
Oh, it's here. It's on page, whatever, 2. Okay. So, what did you put in, Sherry? I'm sorry.
I changed it to a transfer out for the library of 228,000 and 228903. Which is an increase of $7,000. An increase of 3.2%.
Okay. For now. And then the other one I would add real quick is, because she mentioned it in the presentation, I think we can take 5,500 out of the collector's budget. She's got that in there because that's what it costs to do a late July tax bill after 3 referendums. But even if we have multiple referendums, we're not gonna wait 6 weeks or whatever it was, a month and a half before we do the first one. The second one, if there is a second one, a need for a second one. So I don't think we're gonna get to July late bills. I think we should, I think we would be faster than that to react. Last year, we were so close that they had to get outside services help and all kinds of handling help and stuff to get the tax bills out. And it was $5,500 just for that service alone. So I think we take it out. I appreciate that she noted it. It was a real cost in the current budget year. So it really kind of spiked her budget. There's other costs and other cost centers for the multiple referenda that are unbudgeted. But that one, I think we can avoid it. Do you agree? And should we put 5,500 as a reduction in that line?
For that.
Well, I'm just looking over, okay, so the increase in computer support right now is 2,600. So some of that 5,500 must be absorbed somewhere else in this, because there isn't an increase of 5,500.
Okay, that was in her presentation.
Yeah, it was.
So I don't know where it resides, but
Ashley's not on, right? I don't think Ashley's on.
did I hear that, you guys?
Christina, can you just look at the guests and see if Ashley's on?
Oh.
Hopefully she would have unmuted by now.
And then. Let's just.
It scrolls off the bottom, well. Okay, yeah, I think she would have spoken up by now. So, I do remember that 5,500 number. So, I mean, it's certainly safe to take the 2,600 increase out in computer, and if you feel you should take the 5,500, I mean, that's what you need to do. I'm not sure why it doesn't show as a 5,500 increase in here. Unless some of it is, because if you look at the spend on that computer support line, it's it's on the monthly budget each year.
It's not part of the bigger support though, I don't think. I mean,
Well, there's nowhere else in the budget.
okay,
There's no,
that's all she asked you.
I can't see. I mean, every other line is smaller than that except office supplies.
So what's gonna be our protocol? Do we wanna put a placeholder in for that and, and ask Chris to confirm it offline? Not,
Well,
or just hang back on it?
if I might suggest, I do remember the 5,500 number. If you want to, since you're not voting on them tonight, if you want to take the 5,500, but I will talk to Ashley and make sure on Monday and make sure that the numbers are right.
Yeah,
And then if we need updated information, I'll email you.
there's also, training money in a lot of the town budgets with the people that, they're like collectors and assessors who need a certain expertise in keeping their training up. I think some of that is, I don't know if it's mandated, but it's just makes sense.
In the tax collector's office is mandated, she has to be certified within a certain time.
Right.
Yeah.
But some of it, I think, is, I don't know if some of it's more elective and some of it not, but
Most of it is pretty tiny money.
But I definitely support it. It's just, that's an area that sometimes you have to look at. So how are you noting that, Sherry?
I was looking to see if I could find her original email with her notes. So you can find exactly where it was accounted for.
Just gonna send.
Yeah, she did it under computer support.
Show it as 5,500.
So she did it under computer support, but she only increased that for $2,600.
Right. I'll send her an email. So when she comes in Monday, she'll have the email.
Okay.
So I don't think she increased it by the full 5,500.
Should we
It looks
just
like
put
to me, so I could give up.
2,600 in for that? then?
Yeah.
Got the ambulance
Yeah, I mean, I'm just looking at the big numbers and it's a big one.
Yeah.
And,
you want to spat it off so that those viewing at home?
So the request, the current number for this year is 546,000. And the request is for next year is 662,000, for an increase of 116,000, 1%. 1.3. And the reason why is a lot of payroll stuff, right, Alan?
So there was a transfer by this board at the end of last year to get the numbers down to use past balance and money out of Fund 17.
Right,
There's only a 2.4% increase over last year. Overall spending,
right.
but that's what we argued when we did the transfer at the end of last year. It was going to look horrible this year.
Mm-hmm.
And it looks horrible.
Yeah.
Even though it's only a 2.4, it's an overall.
I have a question. How long have we had 2 ambulances?
6 years on?
Since ARPA, right? We got the second one with ARPA money.
5 years.
But at the time, we said, no, extra maintenance, there would be none. We said, there would not be an ambulance staff.
And it's not stopped,
It's,
but it's.
you know, it's a backup, more or less.
So there was no staff added in the second ambulance, right? There was not.
It's used to try to make the first truck last a little longer, and then when one truck is out of service, then we're not down.
Well, here's the context I want to add. And you know all this, Alex, and because I basically said it from this table, but one of the reasons it's up is because in the negotiation for the full timers at the contract table, we offered the management offered not me particularly, but not the town, but the ambulance service offered a 15% adjustment for full timers to bring pay more commensurate with what is the going rate for EMTs, given that we are several dollars an hour below that. So they used the opportunity of having three new sort of lesser experienced full timers of the 4. There's one experienced, one real experienced, and then the three others. So they use that opportunity to right size the salary rates, but after these folks have already been hired under the salary agreement that we had, or the salary rate we had, and that ate up the savings that a budget naturally shows when experienced people retire or leave, and you hire younger, less experienced people to staff your full-time positions. That is the one time it breaks in your favor. And by God, we could have used that this year. We could have used that. A 15% adjustment up front. I understand it was well-meaning, but no one on the town side that represents taxpayers buy into this were part of that decision. There was no discussion. It was initialed and done. And I know you asked for a representative. I'm not saying that, but it was late August. We had a representative. She decided to leave the board for personal reasons and did not run for re-election. And so we didn't have someone. Bruce asked, is anyone available to take over? And no one was at the time.
2 of us had conflicts of interest too. Jeff did as well.
For the ambulance service?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. So that reduces the odds for getting someone. At any rate, I sat in on the end. It was really very interesting, but 15% had already been signed off by them. So honestly, this is like, not a verbal, it's not a public whipping or anything, but really, you guys can't commit to something that gigantic in the first year like that to eat up sort of what the town might see as a savings of natural flow to pass on to the taxpayers. We've already expressed that we're a very small town running a 24/7 ambulance. when towns around us. A lot of them are not, some of them are, but they're a lot bigger. They're a lot better able to support that tax wise than we are. And this budget has grown pretty rapidly over, I'd say, well, I don't know, since I was on the Board of Finance, that was 7 years ago. But that was, you know, it's just, I understand the well-meaningness of making the pay more commensurate, you know, I really do. But it can't be done unilaterally with the taxpayers' money when we've got a Board of Finance. I mean, and it was initialed early, kind of like, get this done, you know? It was that side of the union negotiation that put it on the table, not the union. So, that's my disappointment. That's why we're pushing back partly, not because of not because of me, but dollar wise, it's a big increase. It is true, we saved the payroll last year when you were more in a volatile, you had openings and stuff like that, knowing that we would want to rebuild it, but when you hire, you know, people who were coming in the lower part of the scale, I think we should have had some say in that. So I don't know what you recommend.
Alex, do you have a sense of, and I know I just don't have the detail, well, how much the salary increases will impact this 116,000%?
5.6%. Because there's an offset because of insurance and stuff like that. That's why it's the 2.4 for the savings. And what I don't know is what the savings, I need Sherry or Stacy to help with trying to figure out what our savings potential right now is for this year. I don't have that. I don't know when we look at if there's going to be a savings on July or June 30th. Just know that any change or reduction isn't going to touch the union contract. It's not going to touch the full-time staff. It's going to eliminate part-time and per diem staff, which means less hours on trucks on the road. Neither of the departments in this town have the staffing or volunteer to cover that increase, which means lower income into Fund 17. It's a trickle-down effect, and I understand it's with every department. It's not going to touch the full-time staff. It's the part-timers per diems that are making $20 an hour.
Why do we have a 24-hour ambulance if we are in such dire financial straits when so many towns around us don't?
90% other than one town around us, and other than Union, who has 600 residents, has now 24/7 staff because you cannot get volunteers to run an ambulance. Ashford, 24/7, they're looking at almost doubling their budget this year for their emergency services because they're going in with such a large increase for wages along with hiring a full-time fire chief. What they posted last week. Holland, I know that was in their study of trying to get 24/7 staffing. The fire study that was released by the building committee has it in there that we need to be working on. I think Mike, correct me if I'm wrong. They're increasing staffing over the next.
There's a suggestion to add staffing.
We are a small town where we don't have the volunteers to commit to running to being on an ambulance.
Yeah, as far as talent goes, are we still providing all of their nighttime ambulance?
It's come down, but we are going there still.
They're still not using their paid staff.
They're not using their paid staff at night.
We pay for it.
I know, I don't know how many weekends we did it once while we were
That's
just
really
over there.
my concern is
Yeah.
that there's other towns that aren't covering and we're subsidizing them essentially.
Yeah, and our, you know, our mutual aid give is always out of whack, you know, it's a ratio. Used to be something like 13-1 in places like Tallinn and Stafford. That's been reduced somewhat.
Yep.
And it's still, we're still 7-1 or 3-1, something, it's not.
Our mutual aid coming in is just about maxed, about equal to what I think on that form I sent is pretty close to what we give out. Coming in is just about, it's just mixed up a little bit.
Well, but I think we get a large share coming in by Yukon, but still not by the towns that go out to. We don't, well.
But that's by design. I could ask that Tallinn comes here a lot more, but we don't.
Mhm.
It's set up that Tallinn doesn't come here because Yukon's closer, or Stafford's closer, or Ashford's closer, depending on where it is in town.
Mhm. Understood. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know, we would just be throwing there. I'm just trying to come up with some logic to like what we would cut, because we're trying to cut 500,000 or 600,000. I mean, we cut 25,000 out of ambulance. I don't know if that's even makes a dent in anything, but I know it has a big impact to you guys, and what you're gonna be able to do.
Do you have off-budget resources to augment besides Fund 17, which is savings account for big apparatus purchases?
On your sheet, there's no influx from Fund 17 at this point at all.
Right. We asked for that.
Yep. I did see actually a $50,000 increase in what we projected into Fund 17. But I asked that if you're going to reduce anything, that it be offset with that increase.
Right, but we talked about this before. It is true. Fund 17 is healthier if there, the more calls there are, which, is easier to do when you're 24/7. But Fund 17 is a fraction of the cost of running the ambulance. The lion's share of the cost is, directly taxpayer underwritten. So that's where,
Well, and
Or give us until next week, sorry.
and the thing is, with using all of these fund balances to help offset these increases, that's not sustainable. And then we create these like problems the next year too, like back and forth and causing the same problem.
Give me a number, I can bring back some answers to you or send them to you by Monday or Tuesday, so you have an idea of what that actually looks like.
Well, I guess I would say 25,000. Star, I don't know if that's enough, too much, 50? Yeah.
maybe you could do the two scenarios.
Mike, if you can have a conversation with the town manager over there in Tallinn to see if they can pick up their end.
I have already.
Peter's work.
I have already, and I have,
Trust me, that conversation's gone around multiple times.
and I plan to continue having it. Yes.
Well, since we're on the subject and why should we hold back,
Sure.
It's a big
Just hang on, Steph.
Oh,
You
sorry,
guys settle on 50?
We said,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, that's,
Two scenarios.
50 and 25.
yeah,
yeah.
All right, I'm just trying to figure out if we're putting a number in right now or not. I know you didn't vote on it, I'm just,
Yeah.
what do you want to put in for the placeholder?
I guess go with the 50. Or just so,
He's gonna run both, see what the
Yeah.
Yeah.
impact is.
yeah, just so that we know what number we're putting in the.
What would that take the percentage increase to,
50 would be almost half. So probably around just
10?
probably around 12%.
11, 12.
So the other piece is, Since we're talking about it, you know, I know you, feel free to roll your eyes.
I'm not gonna roll my eyes. I think you know I have no
You
control.
know, we costed it out like several years ago, the impact, for sheriff calls then, and the sheriff may be down now, but it was like a tenth of our sheriff calls going to Union because they're in our PSA. We owe them first response because we were swept into that deal in some way that, you know, I don't know. Well, through, you know, through you guys, I think, and the, for
Well, before my
selectmen.
time, but yes, you're right.
Union does not have an ambulance, and they do not play the mutual aid game therefore. So we felt like it was only fair, we took a tenth of what the ambulance was costing at the time. It ended up being about 48,000, and Mike was on the board of finance then. I think that was 4 years ago, 3. Anyway, since then, they gave us 13,000 in ARPA money one time, and we had them in for a $5,000, you know, modest. We acknowledge that you guys give us first response for nothing, which most towns have to pay for if they don't have the service themselves. So what's the story this year, and can we amp that up, because we could use the revenue offset?
I asked to meet with them, it has not been done yet.
And can we get like a more serious number?
Sure.
For, you know, like you have the count information, you have the call information and stuff. I just think we gotta get serious. It's like, you know, mutual aid, I know the concept of it. It's not about the money, it's about being there for each other in neighboring communities. But that's a commitment that was made for this town, because, you know, I don't know if it was a deal, but I don't think it really hit the selectman's office. So I think since we're in that commitment, of course we're gonna do it, but I think they could pony up. So that's just, you know, you've heard it before. So. And that's exactly what the, you know, fresh new library director is doing. He's looking for revenue offset, which is what the transfer outs always have open to them. And honestly, we're in a time where we need that muscle to be tough and tough. Is there not, it's someone else? Rich, you got any ideas? Parks and Rec, what do you want to say? She is on the call. On the hybrid.
We could request and have.
And
that would have to go with human services because they kind of split a lot of it.
they split the summer camp and I think spring camp down the middle. I don't know about, do they share the cost of the Hall Pond lifeguards, or is that?
No, that's just Parks and Rec.
That's just Parks and Rec.
Yeah.
It is a big ask. It is a 44% increase of almost 40,000. So you're saying cut it down to 20?
20,000, that's what.
40 to 20?
Yeah.
Steph, have you had any contact in the last couple of days from Human Services or Rec about shifting? So we've had a discussion in the building that we can shift a little bit of this to cannabis funds, a little bit of their
Oh, you adventure
training program.
Offline, yeah.
So I'm not sure in what way. I'm not sure what way you want to show it in here, but we can take $1,750 out of each of those departments and shift some of the program they're doing. It's eligible to be funded with the cannabis funding, which we've just verified over the last.
How much money do we have in cannabis funding?
So we have about $30,000 in the fund, but the rules are very narrow on what you can use it for.
So if we did it this year, there might be some funding.
We
next year
could
or
potentially do the
2
same thing again next year, right? Yes.
There's nothing coming in good. So
There's no more cannabis money coming in, right? So we could probably do this for a few years potentially. You know, or the rules may change on what the fund is allowable for. But we were clear without risking any violation of the rule that we could do $3,500 worth of programming in what they have planned for this coming year. And it's split 1750 between the two departments.
But so the fund doesn't quite have, they only have 30 though, right?
The fund is 30,000. So, and we're using 3,500.
Oh, okay.
So that you could do it potentially.
8 years or so.
Well, there may be other things that come up, like next year, there might be a program that can use more of it. So maybe we'd use more than 3,500 next year.
My only request would be that we step down from it each year, like we did, attempted to do with ARPA. Where it was a multi-year thing. If we give them 3,500 this year, then they're gonna need 3,500 or plus whatever the increase is next year.
That's why I'm saying I'm not sure how you want to show it. If you're gonna reduce their budgets, then it makes it look like a bigger increase next year if we can't fund it with the cannabis money.
Right.
So it has to be, it's just like a conversation about the library. You cut some this year, it's a bigger hill to climb next year.
Yeah.
Or the fire department. So all I'm saying is we can offset $3,500 worth. Split half and half between those two departments, so. You can decide how you want to apply that. And I'm sorry the email didn't get to you by now. There's been a lot of moving dollars the last 2 days.
Okay, so in other words, that might change what we take out of it, or?
So that would bring it down to 16.5. What you were saying 20, right? I heard that number 20, so that would make it 16.
What's 1750 per department, I think.
Yeah, it's only, it's,
Yeah.
so.
Yeah.
So instead of 20K, it'd be like 18,250.
Yeah.
For a placeholder? Is that okay with you, Bruce?
Yeah.
Okay.
Ability to start running down the numbers that work out quickly, with the schools.
Right.
You get public works people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So right now it's showing an increase. You're talking about Parks and Rec, right, Bruce? Yeah. So right now it's increasing 39,995, and you want to reduce that increase by 18,250. Correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
We got way up speed anyway.
Yeah.
No, we can say.
Some digits.
Mike, is that money usable for the 300?
I don't think
The cannabis money, probably not, but
Could have
there's,
tied an event into it. Okay,
yeah,
okay.
I don't believe so.
I think, the board also, did talk about human services and, Parks and Rec and their collaboration. They saw what it was, how good the sum could be with, of course, an infusion of money. And they wanted to kind of carry the spirit forward, although not at the same scale. That's, obviously to be applauded because it was a rock star camp last year. And they want to keep the kids locally engaged, but it's also, we also talked about programming expansion kind of has to be tied to grants and fundraising, not necessarily increasing the taxpayer load. There are other things that are more, meat and potatoes that the town can support, but those kinds of expansions, I think, have to be a little more the initiative of the director, and both of them are pretty strong advocates of their departments, Human Services and Parks and Rec. So, that's kind of where we are. Other stuff?
About insurance, that's the big one.
Yeah.
I know this sounds very optimistic, but if the insurance does come back better than the 32.44 or whatever it is. We'll have a little bit to reduce in general government also, because we had already put the increase in.
Right, of course.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
not huge money, but. It's something.
It's one of the reasons when I was looking at the Board of Ed budget, I was thinking, how can you, I mean, I'm not wild about it at all, the non-lapsing, because of course that's, trapeze work without a net. But I think, and that's so 161,000, so that's a big number. And then the supplies are all crucial. The one that really gets me, and maybe there'll be a private donor, is 3,600 to let the kids sit on real chairs, not folding chairs, during the whole classroom day. I can't see the folding chairs safe. With kids, I mean, I don't even know what the reason is, but I think I get it, just as a mom who's seen kids around folding chairs. So, so anyway, all of that stuff is painful. It's really painful, but the physicians to me are the heart of the school. So I was kind of thinking, how could we do strategic cuts that still make a dent? And there are other things that we can do. It's almost like, it's premature to kind of talk about it, given the insurance picture, but we, we can if you want to, or we can just wait till next week. It's a big talk on appropriation night. So it may not be as, couched, but I don't know that you guys need that. I think you need just some, straight talk. What were you gonna say?
Your cross insurance comes in.
Yeah, me too, me too. Me too. Not for nothing, but the sports thing, you guys are right to sort of have it in its own little silo. To me, the thing that popped into my head, of course, I'm a headline writer, is it really removes the concept of the level playing field, in public schools in town. Because the whole idea of that is not that you have to have money to play, or that your parents have to say no to you when you've got basketball talent. I mean, to me, I don't know, it strips my gears a little, maybe a lot. Because, public school, I mean, kids go for different reasons. And they're in the learning environment, and who knows what rubs off, It's not, when it's public school, that's another draw, as is a school play or something that gets you out of the sack in the morning and you go to school, and who knows what happens. It can be magic. I feel like that about sports. So, and you're a former PE teacher. So.
I had my daughter his first year, and he stayed.
None of those items were easy to put on that.
I know, yeah, I can see it in your faces.
But thanks for making that so clear, and easy to see the impact.
Yeah, anything, Jay? I just want to ask you about this. The assessor, sent me cuts, but she was proactive. The registrars were proactive. Her cuts totaled 44.64. you put it in at 3,300. Is that because you felt like it was maybe a little too close to, not enough, her cut? When we did the first cuts that night, I noticed the number we put in there was 3,300. But what she sent me was a total of 4,464, and I think her basis was vehicle valuation in particular is going to online support documents for setting those values off of the volume books, which
Yeah,
are.
I don't remember changing her number. I don't
Okay, some
remember
of
this
them-
conversation.
33 instead, but I had 44, so. This is 1,100, it's it's in the right direction. If she can really withstand that, she gave it up willingly.
What was that one?
That was the assessor, our Fishman.
Yeah, I don't, we're looking back at, I don't remember, well, here, I go my old. Here.
I mean, we could either put it in and you can check it, with her. We can come back at it. I just sort of like to see if we're, do some things to move the needle.
So, it looks like. It took line. Personal property audit.
You know, this might be because of, the salary for the assistant assessor. And because on her spreadsheet that she sent you, she put 0 increase or question mark increases for salaries. And I left the increase for salaries on the master spreadsheet. That might be why, that might be the difference.
Oh, you think you might have had that in the number?
Because you said she cut her budget by how much?
3,300.
No, the number she had quoted you in the letter.
Oh, 4,464.
Is there something about if somebody's a new hire, they don't get the increase? Because that was a couple of years ago.
I can double check on that. It was my understanding union positions were set for a 2.75% increase.
Right, but,
I don't know.
and she is, the assistant is union.
I believe,
Yeah.
yeah.
No, yeah, so, I don't know if that, I don't
I
know.
don't
if
think
policy
there, I don't
is,
think
but-
there's a. I don't know if
Yeah, it might have been
there's-
some of the non-union positions that was the case, like the treasurer.
I didn't think it was that when I read her explanation. I didn't think it had anything to do with payroll.
Right.
And, by the way, total disclosure, I did look at freezing the non-union salaries in the town. I don't have a number for that in the schools, but I think it's probably pretty small. In the town, it's only like an 18,000, yield. And, at this point, I don't want to put it in as a placeholder because that just sounds like, not much gain for a lot of pain.
That when the union got raised and everybody else.
Exactly,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'd be
exactly.
looking for another job.
No, I get it. Brandon,
And
they're
already we
gonna
bleed people out of town all the time because they can make.
Yeah.
money
Yeah, it's not, and we do have that issue. Everybody gets trained and really good and then they leave and you know, you really can't say much about that.
Yeah, I mean, typically are like the people who are working, they're kind of a similar salary level, these department heads like tax and revenue collector, town clerk, that kind of thing. They're always can get at least 10,000 more somewhere else.
Mhm. Well, it's just something about the commitment we do have, I think. So. Let's see. Someone throw a dart.
Did you go through the? What list we had?
Yes, I'm gonna leave this.
A question about the dispatch fees.
Oh,
Oh, yeah.
Why do those consistently go up and how is the pay structure? How is that structured? Like, how is our payment factored in with everybody else that uses TN?
So it's the same, the percent over. And this is the best as I can, nothing to do with the budget, I just worked there. Please, figures. There's an increase in the percentage per year based off of level of service. So if our call numbers go up, and it's based off of our call numbers in town only. So if we go mutual aid, we don't pay for any different. It's based off the call numbers in town and then the animal control. How many? They're off the dog licenses for the.
Yeah, I don't remember for the animal control.
So it looks like there's.
That one was still done by population. Yeah, the assessment for the dispatch fees used to be done by population. It was switched to by call volume. And as Alex said, it's your in-town calls, because if you go mutual aid, that department's being charged for the original call, so it's their call. And then whatever the budget is, the board of directors of the organization comes up with, then gets divided up amongst all the member towns based on call volume.
it's just a big increase.
Yeah, it's a lot.
It's
So
coming off a 2-year 50% increase after the reorganization on their pay set up. So that didn't break in our favor. And now it's the 3rd year and it's a 10% increase.
yeah.
So we're not seeing that as fair. And, you know, I know you don't have anything to do with it, but we would like to push back on it.
So I did talk to Tyler, who's the executive director and former selectman here and many other positions here. And there's a meeting, there's a regular meeting of the association, then there's board of directors, there's various levels of management, but the regular meeting of the association is attended by representatives of all the communities that are dispatched. The fire chiefs vote on certain things. Alex has a vote on certain things. Tom Snyder has a vote on certain things. And then each town has a municipal representative. When I talked to Tyler, our municipal representative has not attended in like 10 years, I don't know. So we as a town are not participating well in the management. So, I am changing who our municipal representative is.
Thank you.
And we'll,
Self-appointing?
yes, waiting till budget season's over. So I'll learn more about what's going on with the process, and, you know, it's an expensive operation to run. And, it's, well, I don't know, I'll learn more.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks. Thanks for that. It's really taking it seriously. Appreciate it.
So it's another one of those things, there's really nothing we can do about it this year, we're kind of locked in.
Yeah, I mean, and this has been discussed before, the thing, and it always sends a shudder through our fire departments and through the Talon County Mutual Aid Fire Service, which is the proper name of the organization, is essentially a forever no bid contract. And the fact of the matter is, the idea of changing to a different 911 center sends shivers through my spine too. It's a big deal, but it is done. This dispatch center is getting bigger and bigger because they're absorbing other town, which means they're leaving their other dispatches. So, I mean, in the world of municipal taxpayer money, you don't usually do no bid contracts. You usually go out to bid. It's kind of hard to do with 911 centers because there aren't too many of them, but it's probably time we have a conversation about talking to the Willimantic Dispatch, which we were dispatched by 30 years ago, 40 years ago. It's probably time to talk to them and find out if they're willing to do it cheaper and if they can meet the level of service. I'm sure I'll have 42 angry emails and text messages by midnight tonight for saying that out loud. Right, I'll probably get some.
So just as a clarification, Willimantic, all of their IT runs through Chief.
They might still be willing to undercut you. You don't think so?
I think they have a no bid clause.
Oh, well, there you go. So it's a no bid contract protected by a rule that we have to follow. It's a locked no bid contract. But TN stole us from Willimantic years ago.
Right, but now we provide all of the infrastructure for Willimantic.
Yeah, this is beginning to sound like insurance.
Yeah.
Sounds like a monopoly.
There are other places that can work, but
Yeah, but
the rumor has it is, yeah, it's far away.
And
the cost of it is to switch to another center. It's a lot.
That's the way it seems.
there you're hearing the answers right there.
But being that our municipal representative hasn't participated, it could have been one of those situations where they don't have somebody here. Let's throw the line.
I don't think we're being treated unfairly amongst the group. I think it's just a matter of, has someone had a chance to have a say?
Well, yeah.
Like, wow, these increases seem tough, is there a better way to do it? Maybe they'd be outvoted anyway, or maybe they'd have the one more vote that would have changed something.
I mean, we've all been through a couple of years with a corporate figure or someone who's, is reorganized and everything's more expensive. But once you get beyond that, there should be a new piece. And we're not into a new piece. That's part of it. So, because I really didn't like the 50% increase. How are we reorganizing that? Anyway.
Senior center going up 14%.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
6,000.
Yeah, got some ideas there.
$3,000.
Oh, we're halfway through the sheet, buddy. We gotta.
It's all warming up. I thought he was gonna make a motion to adjourn. I already closed my.
That's pretty, yeah.
Chair tonight and not making a motion.
We're not even a correspondence.
Some senior citizens. Yeah, ideas for me.
$3,000 increase in maintenance. Miscellaneous.
Yeah,
1,000 for the gas and the van. So
right, I think,
a bunch of other smaller.
I think there was. Because we talked
did a
about.
$2,000 adjustment a couple of weeks ago on this too, right?
That was for the,
Senior center programming or something?
yeah, those for the rides.
Yeah. Yeah, we've already done two.
Is this the latest stuff we got tonight? They should reflect that in there, right?
That adjustment is already in.
It's on the sheet here.
It was higher than 14.
I'm on page 6 right now, looking at 15.9.
Yeah, I think we talked about taking out the 1,000 for the van and gas because it was representing an additional monthly trip. And that's it's kind of a program expansion. We didn't think because she's trending in her spending well below meeting our budget for this year.
Well, also, all of the trips are participant funded,
Right,
so there's no
share.
pay to go on trips. It's all covered.
Is that just for members or to anybody? You gotta pay some here to get a free ride.
I think
So if I wanna
anybody-
go, I get a free ride.
Maybe members, I don't know.
You gotta stay off.
You will in a few
And
years.
then there was also an increase in maintenance that we thought was steep. Do you remember that?
There was 3,000 in maintenance, there was 1,000 in senior center gas,
Yeah.
and custodial expenses are up like 12.7%, which is kind of an outlier.
What's the definitely 3 in the 1. Because honestly, this cost of the senior center,
Probably $4,000 in it.
we put a 4,000 placeholder in the senior center budget for the,
You're
Growth in
reducing their increase by another 4,000. Every cent.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we already had 1 in there, or what do we have there?
2. We had
Two.
already adjusted it down 2, but that's not a placeholder. We already took it out.
Okay,
I mean, you could say it's placeholder because, but I mean, we already,
oh, removed it from,
it's
Yeah.
not showing. We've already calculated it out.
yeah,
That already brought it down to 13,900.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay,
So by taking out what you just suggested, they have $2,478 increase.
Correct.
Right.
And that would be a 5.3%.
Kind of where we're going.
yeah.
2,000.
Yeah, somewhere
So,
in that vicinity.
West. We've already done 2. So is that a total of how much?
Again, I don't have any problem with them providing that.
We're talking about taking 2,000 out instead of 4,
I don't either.
because they've already taken 2.
Yeah,
Budget already reflects a reduction of 2,
yeah,
so I'll just take another 2, and that'll leave them with 4,478.
Money to gamble, your money to pay for us.
yeah.
Are you revising?
I'm trying to understand it. The 13,900 reflects 2,000 already out.
Yes.
Yes.
So we take another
From 2
2,000.
weeks ago.
Yep. So we take another 2,000 out, that would bring their ass down to 4,478.
Right. So you're saying put back 2,000 of what we just took out? Because we took out 4 a couple minutes ago.
So a total of 6.
So we're still discussing.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get the
Wait,
number
wait,
right.
Yeah.
wait, we took out a total of 6,
We had taken out 6 as of 30
Okay.
seconds ago.
is that supportive?
Well, that would be
That's
no
still
increase.
left them with an
No
increase of 2,478.
If we take out 6, it leaves them with, I think, 478.
Okay, so there's
Since you
already
got-
2 out of this number, right? I think I brought up 3 originally, then you brought up 4, you really went hard. Now you're backtracking.
I'm trying to see what's been done already.
If we take out the 4 that they already have they just did it on the thing right now, they would be left with 2,478, which is a 5.3% increase from last year still.
So do you wanna make it 5 then? Instead of 4? What?
Going the wrong way.
No, I think we could leave it at the 4 that we took out, that'd be 6 off of their
Yeah.
original
That's
ask.
good. Yeah.
All in, counting. what-
Yeah, that'd be 6 total off of their.
Yeah, 4 out, yeah.
Okay, so we're gonna leave the 4 from tonight.
Yeah.
Got it.
100%.
Thank you.
Okay.
Can I bring up something else?
Yeah, sure.
The transfer station. It's up 11%. There's 2 big drivers. One is $20,000 increase to trash removal. Do you think it's contractual?
Yeah.
But in the prior years, they haven't or at least this year so far. They're not tracking to hit their projected number, so I'm not sure if the quantities.
Or is that,
Are-
or is that because the chemical stuff isn't open until the spring and that's a huge charge now?
The chemical stuff, and they changed the way they changed the tip fees and, how much they're charging by the tonnage instead.
Right.
The pay structure is just different.
Yeah. It's just a big increase, so, and it's unknown. It's all getting changed, how we're charged. It seems like a big jump to assume that it's gonna be that different, but maybe there has been analysis done. The other one that is high is, the bulk. Yeah, the bulky, it's up $8,000.
13.3%.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is, the tipping fees increased and the tonnage tripled, the cost per ton tripled. And that's all contractual. We had that was negotiated between Mid-Rock and, Willie Waste. And when Casella took over, they're following the same, they took over that contract. So there's no change because it's Casella. It's all just, that was what was built in. And Mid-Rock negotiated that. We weren't part of that.
You remember back about 10 years ago when they were starting to play hardball with how much bulky you brought in and talking about charging? I'm not sure if our orientation has changed on that.
Yeah, it's not gonna be us, it's gonna be the pushback, you're gonna get public, announce that.
Yeah, I got some pushback, but I proposed that. And it was because we were in a situation like this where the prices were just unreasonable. And we're one of the only towns around that doesn't charge something. And so,
Something like 2 or 3 towns left that don't charge, or?
yeah, it wasn't very many. And the thing is, like, we have a lot of people in town who don't even use transfer station. They actually pay to have trash removal, private company. So it's, all of these services that we provide, somebody will argue, well, I don't have kids in the school, so why am I paying for the school? Well, I don't use the transfer station, so why am I paying for the transfer station? I don't go to the library, so why am I paying? Well,
Part of
yeah.
civilized society.
Yeah, yeah, that's all true, but, this is another thing, like if we're talking about pay to play, but I'm not proposing it because I know how it went and,
Yeah,
it wasn't popular.
we've done, perhaps necessary, we've done damage to a lot of programs tonight already. You wanna find where the pitchforks and torches are going? You propose charging for the transfer station for dumping.
The only thing is.
I've lived it before.
I don't know if the average person in town understands how serious these things, how expensive all of these things have gotten and how out of control it all is and unsustainable it all is. And, I don't know how to drive that point home.
Just being a casual user once a week, I don't go there at any time and not see someone unloading a big truck. Maybe not big truck. I mean, more than like somebody's trailer, and more than like what might be a
There are still commercial people.
Yep.
Even though they're not supposed to, there's still commercial people coming in with just a plain pickup truck with no writing on it, unloading commercial debris, renovation contractors.
Even a box
all that.
truck.
Yep.
Like a short box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we have to get better on enforcing it again.
Yeah, they're only supposed to be bringing in a pickup truckload, something more
Yeah,
Per week.
right.
I think that's rather generous.
It is.
It is.
I do like 4 or 5 a year that are big enough to get my card punched.
We had a few years where we would do, like spot checks, which also wasn't popular. You can imagine. But it was good. I did catch some people who were, doing that, like coming in with big trucks and stuff, and not people who don't live in town, maybe have a relative in town and borrowed their sticker, but it wasn't actually theirs, and that sort of stuff. You do it once a year, you catch some of them, and then the word spreads that maybe don't do it. But, that, the thing is, we had we had the data at the time of wow, there's so much more trash coming in, what's going on? And then once we started doing that, it went back down, so. But I don't think that we heard that from Troy, that's what's happening.
The tonnage has not increased a lot, actually. The tonnage went way up around COVID and all that, and it's settled from what he explained. It's most of it right now, it's the tipping fees and the per ton fees have gone way up. Like I said, I don't know if it was the recycling, the regular garbage and the bulky all went up, and some of them went up triple.
So these are hard numbers then, this 20,000 increase to, the trash removal and the 8,000 bulk waste disposal.
Those are contract numbers, yeah.
Was there any?
The only thing that would provide relief in those, would be if we find, if we were auditing people coming in and we discover that there's people coming in from out of town or something, and we can reduce the amount that leaves, because those are per ton rates. But based on our usage average, that's what we're expecting to be the hard number.
Is Casella the only game in town now?
Yeah, they have the contract.
I don't know, just to see what they'll come back with, if we cut that by 5 or 10,000, maybe.
Yeah, transfer station.
Yeah, maybe even 10. I'll look at
What page are we on? Was that 8?
9. It's at 9 in the budget, but, and it's only because that 20,000 is an unknown. If it's a new contract and a new way of pricing it out, we don't know really what it's gonna be.
What do you mean? What are you saying?
That the 20,000 increase.
No, it's a 5-year contract.
No, I know, but this current year, we're not tracking to hit 130.
Oh, yeah.
So why are we assuming we're gonna?
Because the rates triple
Yeah.
coming up.
Oh, for the new year.
Yeah, the rates haven't tripled now. The rates aren't coming up to triple.
Right.
Starting when, in June or July?
I think it's July 1. I don't.
So you've already been quoted?
Yeah, the contract was done 2 years ago. We're in year 2 or year 3 of a 5-year
Yeah,
contract.
that's how these guys do it. We have to do it where I work too, with the same company, you sign for
Yeah.
2 years. So you-
Well, I mean, I don't know, maybe there is, I'd like to hear if there's anything they can do to.
So if you just look, even if you look at the trash removal line, if you look at where we're trending at the beginning of March, we were at 80,000 out of 130,000.
Yeah.
We were trending on the money to hit the 130 roughly speaking, and maybe a little past it.
Okay.
And so the 130 was probably not gonna be enough anyway. And we have a rate increase.
Mm-hmm.
So the 150, the increase of 20 is, obviously it's 15%, it's a lot, but it's I don't think there's any wiggle room in that.
That's the other thing we're kind of fighting in this town is we have a lot of contractual services. And we really have very little control over the growth level there. It's not anything to do with inflation rates. So. What you're changing on your real time. Okay. So are we putting that in, or are we just to keep the flow of conversation going, or are we taking it out?
I don't know if we can. Yeah, I mean, most of it's contractual, and if you take, how much is it you wanna take out? Yeah.
10?
Yeah, just, the money's not there to do that.
No, it's not, and you can't even take it from the
Yeah,
other
I
places.
believe it. Yeah, we gotta look elsewhere.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really so much. So,
Yeah, it has gone.
it used to be like $130,000 through the.
I know there's other things that we could bring up, but I'm wondering if we're running out of gas here. The only thing is that makes next Thursday, you know, a little murder on all forms. So.
There'll be a sense of urgency. Good time.
It starts 4.
What do you guys think? If you're done.
If nobody has any other quick, bigger numbers, you know.
That works.
Yeah.
And I think it'll help a lot to know what the insurance is here.
I think we gotta kind of look at human services, even though I do recognize, I don't think it's a big number though.
12,000.
That, pardon me?
Maybe we're going to 12,000.
12,000. I think, you know, there's definitely some program growth there that I think we need to take down. But I want to retain the 60 hours a season during the holiday season for the assistant because she's already proven, you know, life has changed in the food pantry. It's bigger, it's more crowds, there's more need out there.
But if we're cutting, Park and Rec, and they share those programs, there should be some.
There should be a
that comes out
cut.
of-
I'm just up in the air about what, you know, that's reasonable. Program growth is low hanging fruit right now. But that new need that has already been experienced during Thanksgiving and Christmas and everything, she worked 60 extra hours and they tried to backfill with volunteers.
She had a lot of volunteers.
She's also a manager of volunteers, so.
Right, but we need to find out what if it's the extra programming at the camp, not the salaries, but the extra programming that needs to curtail because we don't no longer have the ARPA funds and we just can't fund it.
Right.
We need to find out what that number is
Right.
in social services.
That's good.
Yeah.
So just for
I have a
status check,
placeholder of like 7,500, but I don't know if it's that high.
so just for a status check, you're at $600 on a $200,000 house right now. You're at 3 million.
3 bills.
But that's only applying the 191 on fund balance. Remember you asked me before to just apply the 191 that we cleared up tonight? There's no other applied fund balance right now,
So there is the 191
just
factored
the
in.
191.
Okay. Yeah. I don't think we got it.
Well, I mean. We don't have,
I mean, you know,
we still have to what the 2.2, right, or. That. Fund balance, right?
We had to do what we wanted is.
Oh.
The fund balance. That's.
Right.
Total.
What'd you say for the note? 3?
I think
3 months, like.
But then they come in.
I'm gonna ask everybody on the board to go back to your original, you know, the original budgets and also the original narrative and revisit them and look real hard for what makes sense given what the backdrop is. And, you know, come in with more serious.
Did we get any feedback on what we did tonight and what we've done so far so that we're looking at the right lines that have been already picked clean?
Do you want feedback from?
You want to be adjusted.
Mike?
Adjusted
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that way, we'll
Sure.
be looking
Sure, you may
where
want
it
to see
is.
the file
Yeah.
and look at that, of course.
We can have
We
that
can do that, can't we, Sherry?
What's that, Sabrina?
Just when it all gets finalized, so I could share it with the board for them seeing.
Like so we made tonight, so we can see where that is.
Can we do an email so we can work on it?
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I'll print it out and work on it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's tracking the adjustments.
Yes,
She is, sorry.
I know.
So just to finish that picture there, where we were talking about our status with using just the 191,000 out of the fund balance. We're currently at, what was it, 9.7% remaining in the fund balance.
Oh.
I thought,
Sorry.
9.7, what we're down at? Who put money back?
Do you wanna go past 10, it's gonna get worse.
Everybody on the board of finance was.
I was looking for the electric cattle.
9.7 in the fund.
So with those cuts, what's our bottom line percentage, Sherry? Do you have that?
Bottom line percentage,
So the percentage on
Yeah,
on the budget is 6.2.
2%.
It was 5.9 before.
You mean
I'm not talking about just the town, I'm talking about like the
Town.
overall.
That's the everything budget is 6.2, all combined.
After we made those cuts.
We started at 7.3 for the beginning of this.
What was the
Oh,
page,
7.3.
what was the page that had 5.9 on it?
That was before we added the increase, the Board of Ed increase. Yeah, okay.
All right.
Yeah,
So the insurance.
it seems like the numbers really changed, yeah.
Really is drivers.
It's like, please, nothing else happened in the 6 days before we appropriate.
I think you should adjourn before anything else happens tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, you guys, are you up for adjourning? I am. Oh, sorry. Oh, yes, thank you. Okay, sorry about that. And we have lots of people online too, so, who would like to be present to speak? Who is present? Who would like to? Speak? Orlando?
Rodriguez from Jubilee. Yeah, I just want to make a comment about pay to play. For a lot of kids, it's important. They come to school because of sports. But not only that, if some families, let's say you have 1 or 2 kids who can't afford it, we have small enrollments. You may not be able to field a team just because of those 1 to 2 kids, right? So you need to look at the broader impact on pay to play on your ability to have any sports at all. And if they don't play in middle school, they're not likely to play in high school. So
Thank you. And
I don't-
your
I'm not in
greatness in the
favor.
NBA or whatever, No, I hear you. I hear you. And not for nothing, but physical education gets, less and less attention. I mean, it just makes sense for educating the whole human being, I feel the same way about the arts. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, online, oh, yes, ID.
Oh, Laura Rodriguez, 50 Timber Lane. So two comments I wanted to make. One, I just wanted to tell you all I appreciate how incredibly difficult your job is. I wish everybody in town attended these meetings to see how hard this is. The insurance increase, it seems to me that's something that maybe you need to go to the Attorney General about, because we don't have the funds, as you mentioned, to sue the state, but it's something that I think needs to be investigated, because it just absolutely sounds like fraud to go up that much if we have the data that we shouldn't be going up. So that was one thing. And then the other is, of course, the library. I'm, upset about it, of course, but I understand the difficult situation. But I think Steve made a number of cuts in the revised version, and I was looking back through it again, and perhaps you can give us some guidance where you're going to find $43,000 more to cut, because I don't see it. So, yeah, I just some guidance on where we could possibly cut more. I think it's gonna come down to honestly having to close the library like 3 days a week. And maybe only being open literally 35 hours, so your full-time people get 35 hours in. It's gonna be really difficult.
Just a real, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you. Anyone online? Oh, sorry. Yeah, ID yourself, please.
Arthur Christensen, 14 Birch Meadow Lane. You're not getting out of here without me being angry at you. You are, the Board of Finance is supposed to provide the most accurate information possible. I had this problem last week, I have this problem this week. The Parks and Rec budget did not go up 44%. Perhaps Parks and Human Services combined went up, but the Parks and Recreation budget by itself went up 12.7. That's a big difference. It's only $21,000. You want to hack $10,000 out of it. You heard the comments about sport, the importance of sports. There's a comment about people leaving to go somewhere else. You had a great Parks and Rec director in James for 2 years, and he left because he kept getting cut off at the knees with all the money that was going away. Now you got somebody just as good in Rachel, and you're going to lose her too because you keep taking money away from the things that she wants to do to increase engagement in this town. There is more money in that budget to ADA the porta potties than there is in a raise for her, which is ridiculous. Stop doing that. We have a basketball program, and it services a ton of kids. It gives the high school kids, if they don't make the EO team, gives them a team to play on. It gives our middle school teams extra practice because they can also be on the rec team. And we have a ton of good volunteers. People are showing up to volunteer to help. You can't expand the program and get more kids active into other sports if you keep taking money away from it. And that's what you're doing. You're going after such a low-hanging fruit and such a huge budget. And you're going at one of the departments that has $21,000 of increase. The second thing that I want to say is the Board of Education already put in $100,000 out of their non-lapsing fund. The proposal on your sheet is an additional $161,000. That's $250,000 that we are all trying to offset the budget with to make it a palatable number. And just saying it's the 161, I don't think gives the board the credit it deserves for putting the other 100,000 in there to try to lower that amount as much as possible. So, thank you.
Okay, President to speak doesn't invite back and forth. The only thing I'll ask is, Sherry, could you drill down on that? Because I have the increase in Parks and Rec as $5 short for 40,000 year over year.
So Parks and Rec, for the current year that we're in, is using almost 20,000 from their prior fund balance, which is why it looks like such a big increase. She's really only asking for 20,000 more than what she had for this year, but the fund balance is making it a total of 40,000.
Should that be reflected in the appropriation sheet and that dynamic? Because
it's
if there's
the current year's budget, you can't. It's the same thing we're talking about with the fire department thing. Anywhere else where we apply funds to offset, then we have this situation where the next year's increase is a steeper hill to climb if you're not going to continue applying offsets each year. So it's just a matter of everyone understanding what the numbers are.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, to be fair, the 20,000 that is being used to offset it or whatever is transfer money from the past, right?
Yes, it was believed to be taxpayer money left over. Yeah.
Thank you. Okay.
Is there anybody online? I don't see anything.
Oh, I'm wondering. Is there anyone online that would like to speak? Okay. Then shall we adjourn or good and fair? There's any that you want to? Thank you for sticking with it. Thanks for your ideas and
You're,
homework. Sorry,
I thought you were finished. Go ahead.
go ahead.
I just wanted to thank, Donna, who is on leave, for making herself available to Barry and us to kind of figure out how to map our way through this budget season. And I'll, add a thank you to Sherry and the rest of the finance team for, working with one person down, and, especially that being the, decades-long fearless leader. It's been a challenging season for them so far, but, I feel like they're doing a great job.
I second that. That's great. Thank you. Okay, let's adjourn. Our meeting is adjourned.
Hey, Phil, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.